5, like close to 5, and she was saying you'd be here 1 to 5, and you didn't have anybody scheduled at the time. Nobody was scheduled 1 to 5, and I'm like, well, I could get up a little earlier and just come at
Thank
like
you.
4. Oh, of course. Do you mind getting a picture before we? That way, I like don't forget as we get done, like to get a picture of you and I.
Yeah. Hey, Brandon, can we get
Want
you to
to-
take a picture, please?
Gotta have proof that I.
Well, are you guys ready?
Whenever you tell us.
One life in 3, 2.
Hey, this is Buddy, and we're back. We were having a little bit of technical difficulty there. The Starlink and I guess all the clouds and everything slowed us down. I don't think the quality of the picture may be what it was a little while ago. We had to lower that a little bit to be able to get out, and we certainly didn't want to miss it because Tara came in the middle of the night and got up extra early to come, and I would have been ashamed if I'd had said, "Oh, we don't need you now." But anyway, we can't talk to you. But anyway, this young lady's been doing a wonderful job with Family Promise, and so just go ahead and introduce yourself. Talk about the ministry a little bit and everything, and then maybe I'll get a few questions in or something.
Sure.
But share with us whatever's on your heart
Yeah.
today, okay?
Thanks for
Or
the
this
invite.
morning or evening or whatever we
I
call it.
know, morning, early. So my name's Tara Pagliarini. I'm the Executive Director, Family Promise of Brevard, and our mission is to keep families housed so children can thrive. And when families are struggling, we're going to help them if they're in the middle of a housing crisis, if they've lost housing, they're at risk of losing housing. But we also really work hard to address the barriers that keep families struggling. So we're just trying to help systems work better to provide that wraparound service that families need when they're facing instability. And we're trying to go into our greatest zip code of need, which is in 32922 in Cocoa. So we're doing a lot of work there to just fulfill our mission. So.
Tell us, how did you get started with Family Promise?
Oh, I got started. So my husband's job relocated us to Florida in 2009, and I kind of came kicking and screaming because I just thought Florida was where people retire. And so we had a young family at the time, and I was just, really wasn't sure why God had called us to Florida. And it was really hot all the time. And I saw a position for a startup nonprofit called Family Promise of Brevard, and my background is in social work, and so it always worked with families that were vulnerable, families with children that were really facing a lot of barriers. And at the time, I thought, well, I have the skill set. I have both the clinical skill set and I have the leadership. I felt like I could help get this nonprofit started, and I'd kind of hand it off to the next director. And the first program we launched was our emergency shelter for families, and we really focused on the gaps at the time and continue is that there's not a lot of options for families with fathers, families maybe with a large, 7, 8, large family or an extended family or male children over 12. So we just really wanted to hone in on that. We got started, and as soon as we started, I just kept asking that question, well, what if instead of sheltering families, or in addition to sheltering families, what if we also focused on stabilizing them or preventing them from ever coming into shelter. And then once we kind of started to go upstream, I kept saying, well, what if we worked with families that were not yet in a housing crisis, and we just started to help the system serve those families better. And so every year just kind of became another year, and I just keep seeing ways that we can work better to serve families and come together as a community and do more good. And so it's been a passion project that started with maybe 1 year that's turned into now 12 years.
It's been that long.
It
12
has, and
years
we've
now.
served over 20,000 families in that 12-year period of time. And I just keep seeing more that we can do to be better.
Well, you
be
know,
there.
you've done a great job.
Thank
God's
you.
used you greatly, and
Thank
y'all
you.
have grown so much. And it takes that vision. You know, it takes that vision to do it, and God's evidently given that to you. And
Yes.
you've done a great job at doing that. And you know, and our biggest thing is to have some strong conversation out here. We haven't had the involvement of some of our government officials that we would have liked to seen. You know,
Yeah.
law enforcement, things like that, and everything like we were hoping, and really a little lack of the churches too.
Mm.
And something that Amy and I both have been talking about is, you know, we're better together.
We
and
are.
together
Mhm.
we're better, however you want to
Mhm.
say that. And so, you know, addressing the situation, y'all are I know you're big in the mapping. That you know, that was part of some of your vision and dream,
Yeah.
wasn't it? If I'm right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how far along are we on that? I know
Yeah.
that we've started working down in this area. Matter
Yeah.
of fact, over at Helen's house, I think there's a meeting next week or
That's right.
the week after.
Yeah,
So
that's
something like
right.
that. So tell
Yeah.
us a little bit how that started and
Sure.
how it's going.
Yeah. Uh, so when so during the pandemic, kind of backing up, we were actually in Rockledge. We were in a church building. We were at Grace Life Church up in Rockledge, and our core programs of shelter, stabilization, prevention were really humming. But it felt like I had my finger in a dam. You know, I just felt like it was just the number of families facing insecurity was just growing and growing and growing. And then the pandemic hit and everything, you know, it was like a tsunami of need. And I'm sure you experienced the same. And all of our providers just couldn't keep up with the demand. And so it was at that time that I went to our board and just said, we've got to work smarter. Let's consider taking kind of a zip code approach or a geographic approach to what we're experiencing. And let's consider moving to our most distressed zip code. So where are families facing the most instability? There's definitely several. It's 32922, 32901, and 32905. Those are our three most distressed in Brevard County. And so I said, let's move to COCO, 32922. And as we started to consider that, I had gone to the city of COCO and said, do you have a building that we could repurpose into a hub for families? And that's what got us into the old firehouse behind the water tower. And we began working with the city to renovate that and make it into the service hub where we have our services co-located with healthcare, childcare, career. And as we got into that space, I realized really quickly, like, as much as I could coordinate services interior to that building, I recognized that the partners in that geographic area were still working very much in a silo. All of us do great work on very limited resources, but everybody was doing that great work separately. And I thought, what is a way that we could come together and bring not just nonprofits together, but our sectors together, all of them. So our government, our education, our faith-based, our nonprofits, our business. Like, how do we bring them together in one space? And so we started to have these work groups. I had called it a fancy name, like the COCO Consortium of, I don't know, something. And the first meeting, Pastor Jarvis Wash said, no, we're the 922 crew. So we've been the 922 crew for a couple years now. We meet every month. We talk about, what's working, what's not working, how we can help each other bridge the gaps in what we're seeing. but how can we engage the missing partners and the rest of the community in helping us to solve what we're seeing? And what birthed from that work group was something we call asset mapping. So as we began meeting, we began like visually mapping all of our entities. So we have our law enforcement, library, Boys and Girls Club, Police Athletic League, Children's Hunger Project, Matthews Hope, Sharing Center, Endeavor Elementary, the high school, just all of these really key folks that are coming together on a regular basis, just working with our most vulnerable residents. And in this mapping, what I learned is that we could work better together because, one, we got to know each other. Like we're sitting and getting to know each other. I say like eyeball to eye. Like we're looking at each other across the table, and we have each other in our cell phones. I can text them, they can text me. But we start to map who we are, and then we're actually seeing where the gaps are. And it's kind of this exercise of mapping the gaps. Like if we put ourselves up on this map, it'll kind of avoid the conversation. So many meetings people would come and say, well, what we're missing is this. And then someone in the room will say, well, actually, we have that. If we don't have enough showers or we don't have enough, food or whatever it is. And then a partner at the table would say, actually, we do have that. And so we started to learn that we have more than we thought we did. There's still a lot of need that we're missing. Housing is a big one. Enough shelter is another. But there are a lot of other places where we can meet other basic needs. So it was really helpful to start to map that. And the north area of the county saw that mapping that we were doing and said, hey, we want to do that. And Parish Healthcare said, let's get in on that. And so the system we were using was actually a free asset mapping tool called Simpara. And it was kind of that first generation or first iteration of it. And they took it and we actually expanded it up into the north area. And it was this idea that we could take our maps, they're separate, but we could thread them together.
Okay.
But it was like this very strong geographic approach to meeting the needs of Cocoa, of meeting the needs of Titusville, of Melbourne, of Palm Bay. If we tightened up those relationships, we could do a better job of being together, working together, coming together. If we just knew each other better in these kinds of ways of what our resources were so that we don't duplicate each other's efforts, that we could maximize our resources and we could just truly help each other. Because I'll have a partner, somebody reaches out and says, hey, we just got a load of Chromebooks, but we don't need the Chromebooks. And we'll put it out to the 922 crew. Who needs Chromebooks, hey, we have all these meals delivered or we have this food left over. Who needs this? And it's just this way of in real time, knowing each other that well that we could just lean in and help solve what's going on in our distinct communities.
So in your monthly meetings, about how many, and I'm guessing that the city's been very involved there in Cocoa in helping y'all with the, land and helping refurbish and that kind of stuff and all. But how many people will be at these meetings that you have monthly?
So we've had roughly 20 to 25 on a regular basis, and that's been not surprising to me, but I've realized is that the group comes to look forward to seeing each other because now we have relationships with each other. It's not just a transaction of a referral from one agency to another, but we want to actually see each other and spend time together. So there's been times over the summer, over the holidays, I'll say, let's not have a meeting. And everyone's like, no, we can still have the meeting. Or maybe we just do it virtually. And I'm like, oh, okay, we'll meet. So it's been exciting. And it's this idea then of, can we spur the same kind of action into other areas and kind of thread this geographic approach across the whole county. So the whole approach will be stronger for the county, but from these very strong geographic hub approaches.
Certainly. What's the structure of the meeting? I was in a meeting just several weeks ago. Had a pastor call a few of the partners in. And we sat down, we got around a table, and I found out things I didn't know about them. They found out things they didn't know about
Yeah.
us. And it wasn't like we went to a meeting and we had a speaker,
That's right.
you know.
That's
And
right.
matter of fact, when the pastor that called it, when he started, he said, "I don't have an agenda,
That's right.
and let's just talk."
Yeah.
And it's probably
Yeah.
one of the better meetings I've been to.
That's
And
right.
So is your meeting structured a little bit like that?
They absolutely. I went into it thinking I needed an agenda. I remember those first meetings, and the entire meeting ended up being us just introducing ourselves. I had this, and good intentions of getting through, introductions, and then kind of working through all these areas. And we never got past introductions because as soon as people started to introduce themselves, they were, and this, people really are proud of the work that they do. They're
Certainly.
connected to the work. They want to talk. They want to tell their story. They want to tell a story of the people they serve. They want to talk about their challenges. And so it just became them sharing. And as we started to kind of see that was what drove people to come, was just connecting, I started to just really keep it very loose. In fact, as we were talking with Christy Stewart with Love Inc., she was kind of leaning into me for advice, like how should we structure meetings? And I said, my advice is to don't. I let the group own itself. And I see myself just really as a facilitator of the group. So I let the group take us where the group wants to, but I really want to stay focused on what's working, what's not working, how can we solve. We might bring a problem or a challenge, but I really want us to focus on, like, what is the solution? Like, is there a way that we could come together on this? What could we be doing differently with each other? But if not in this group, where do we need to leverage the chamber? Do we need to, leverage our relationships in the government? Do we need to bring in stronger faith response? And that's just been everything, just to be able to come together. So it's really the group has stayed very positive, very focused. I really got tired of meetings where we just focused on kind of that deficit approach, I would say, like kind of the deficit, like we don't have this, we don't have this, we don't have this. It's like, yes, I know, we don't. What do we have? What can we do with what we have? What can we do more with what we have? And how do we truly move the needle on what we're seeing for families and residents in general? And I've just been really energized by that approach. I'm kind of a Pollyanna that way, I guess. That we've known each other for a while. When I started years ago, I had said, let's launch an emergency shelter network or group, and because I thought, like, let's get the shelters working better together, and so I'm always thinking this way, and like we could do better together. You're right.
Well, I know we need more emergency shelter.
Yes.
We're trying to work on that now.
Yes.
And I don't know how much you know about
Yeah.
that, but we've got, we've put together some design.
Yeah.
We thought that we were sort of, grandfathered in because we've been homeless mission there forever.
Yeah.
But when that was built, they put some stipulations on us where we have to get a special use permit for
Yes.
anything else built on
Yeah.
the property.
Yeah.
And talking with Marcus,
Yeah.
tonight and at other times,
Yeah.
we got to speed that process up.
Yeah.
We got to speed that process up. And so, we want to put in some more recovery beds, which would turn our building there now all into overnight shelter.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
but talking about the mapping and that kind of stuff, when we decided, when the Lord laid Helen's house on our hearts and on my heart, we were hearing that the criteria was a little bit up here. They were
Yeah.
women with children that were falling through the cracks
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff and didn't have a place to go. And that was the need that we planned on meeting. But what we found out after opening up, there were a lot of single women
That's
in
right.
this area.
Yes.
And so we're about half and half there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so that puts us a little bit less beds because you can't put 4 women into one
That's
room.
right. Yeah.
Or somebody's going to come out hurt
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
And so it's changed our aspect. I mean, we've been open a little over a year,
Yeah.
and we've changed and changed and changed. And I was talking with Amber tonight.
Yeah.
We were talking about funding and things like that
Yes.
and everything on the side. And I said, we just have to find ways to change what we're doing.
That's right.
And
That's right.
continue doing it. But I think if we would have had more of what you're doing in Cocoa at the time, maybe we would have built our shelter a little bit different with
Y-
smaller rooms,
Yes.
to accommodate that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And matter of fact, talking about building our next building, they are
Yeah.
going to be smaller rooms,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
and we'll be able to help more people. But anyway, we've had some good conversations with
Yeah.
folks tonight, and I appreciate you coming out and being part of it. But what do you think that our greatest need is in our county right now, as far as meeting the needs of homeless population? I know that's a big
It
question.
is a big
Big
question.
question.
It is a big question. Well, for sure, there's not enough housing. We can. It's. I don't mean shelter or housing. It's
Yeah.
we need both. But clearly, if we had more housing that was affordable, accessible, attainable for
Yeah.
people, for us, there isn't housing for households less than $70,000.
I know.
That's really that threshold that we're seeing, and it's just the families we serve are spending 50 to 80% of their income on housing costs, and we can work with families to be as diligent and tight with their budget as humanly possible. But life happens. People get sick, cars break down, families break up. Things happen that are so devastating, can be so devastating to housing stability, and just tip the scales in just an instant.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about it like my husband currently is a federal employee. So he's not getting a full paycheck right now. We're able to weather that at the moment, but we're making some really tough decisions. And we're able to make those decisions because we have savings. We have a network to kind of fall back on, people that we could turn to if we needed to. But that doesn't exist for the majority of the families
That's what I was trying to say.
we're serving.
We don't work with
We
people like that.
don't. We
really
don't. And so some of the initiatives that we're kind of heading towards we're exploring housing now as a nonprofit of like we've always partnered with landlords to try to offer units at a lower market rent rather than kind of that what's offered out there. Going to landlords, would you be willing to set aside a few units here and there? And places like Remy Properties, we've been working with Justin Shaffio and his family and their business, and that's been just an incredible help. We're trying to encourage more landlords to
Get
do
involved.
that. We do find that landlords want to be philanthropic, but they also are. That's their business, so they need
their
to
livelihood.
cover their expenses. So we're starting to just explore options and talking to congregations, churches, synagogues. Do you have property that you might convert into affordable housing? We have a long history with our faith community. The way that we shelter families is actually a little different than what you do. We don't have a standalone building. We have the firehouse, which is kind of our day location, and it's our hub. But overnight, families actually stay at churches, synagogues that we partner with all throughout Brevard County. And we've been doing it for 12 years. And it's kind of, I don't want to say it's under the radar because people know about it, but it moves each week. It's kind of like a pop-up shelter. It's a way for the faith community to come forward, share space that's not being used. It's it's like a way for their congregation to engage in a mission at their faith home by spending the night with families, by providing meals, by helping to set up and break down the beds. And so it's just this like faith in action opportunity. And it helps us run the shelter programs that we have, but it's also helped us build strong relationships with the faith community.
Certainly.
And so we have had some come forward and say, we do have land. So on one hand, yes, housing for sure, but shelter also, which we are trying to address. In fact, one of the initiatives that we're working on right now is creating what we call a static site. So more like what you have, in addition to that rotation with the each week at a different faith home. we are partnering on a static site right now where we have a partner came forward. We have a parsonage home that's sitting empty. So we're actually actively preparing it where we keep families there instead of rotating families. And then we rotate in volunteers from congregations each week. So we rotate the faith partners each week, not the families.
Wow.
So we're trying to do both. We're just testing what's going to help us do more with shelter, more with housing. So it's both, but we need both.
What I've seen across the board, and being on the Deep South with Citygate, being on the Deep South board, y'all have done an excellent job in what you're doing. You really have. Probably one of the better jobs I've seen of any of the ministries or any of the providers who are doing it right now. Kudos to you guys. You
thank
really,
you.
really are. But we're all at the same page. Our biggest thing is finding housing.
That's right.
It's finding permanent housing for folks. And, a lot of our men that come to us, we're fortunate. We have 2 ladies that are moving out this weekend,
Yeah.
signed their own lease and
Yeah.
no subsidies or anything like that, have
Yeah.
transportation, things like that. And the Lord's blessing that way. But with a lot of our men, they come in, we do it mostly recovery now.
Yeah.
And they've put themselves in pretty rough situations. Maybe because of their work history, they've not been able to go back into the type job they
Yeah.
had. They're starting off at a lower income.
Yeah.
And when you've been in recovery, and you've been in recovery maybe 6 months, a year, even a year and a half, it's just people are using the boarding type room houses.
Yeah.
And what we found out, we're trying to stay away from that because in case we control it all, because you got a guy, he's been clean for say 6 months, a year, even maybe a year and a half, like I said, and he has a few bad days or
Yeah.
something traumatic comes in his life, and there's somebody there that's drinking, having a drink or two or something like that, or maybe somebody that's experimenting with marijuana, something like that, and
Yeah.
they're right back where they started almost.
Yeah.
And
It's so hard.
so our housing is our number one thing.
Yes.
Also.
Yeah.
And that I've never been a big proponent of overnight, because I feel
Yeah.
like we're just given opportunity to stay in the
Yes.
situation they are. So
Yeah.
our overnight shelter would be a little bit of like, would you come in for 30 days? I mean, we're
Yes.
not going to be mandatory
Yeah.
or something like that,
Yeah.
but hoping we can get them there 30 days
Yeah.
and then reach out with the other providers. And
Mm-hmm.
I've sort of not been engaged like I should, but now that
Yeah.
I've got more time,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get engaged and get
Yeah.
in more with the providers. And Amy and I have been talking about this. We've had some meetings before about maybe what you started, so we don't have to start that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
getting where we know what all's going on with everybody.
Yeah, it's everything, because when you can, our average length of stay in our shelter is about 30 days, and I believe truly it's from those relationships with so many providers and landlords that have been built up over time, so that families can connect to what they need. Either at the firehouse, outside of the firehouse, in housing, and that's meant the world. Moving using the faith community, or partnering with the faith community, not using, but partnering with them around what their mission to serve and our need to have families be served, has been kind of this great marriage of compassion and action. And I've long thought that we could replicate it with people who are single, with youth aging out of foster care, with seniors. It's a great model because it's temporary. It's comfortable, it's welcoming, but it's definitely temporary. It's not a permanent location that families stay at for long periods of time. So it's kind of that, we all go through things in our life where we just need a little bit of time to put the pieces together, kind of the time and space to heal. And we've said, and this, and it's what you've been saying, is that people need people. So I think about
Need community.
we need community. I lean into the Wizard of Oz a lot. It's kind of a universal theme of that there's no place like home. Dorothy found herself without a home. She spent a lot of time trying to find her way back. She thought she was struggling, she was going through a lot, and she needed people to help get her there. And so she had the lion, Tin Man, Scarecrow, that kind of came alongside her on that path, right? And it
true.
wasn't like smooth and polished in all the places. It was broken and craggled, kind of ripped up, and she had a lot of challenges, but she got there. But it took time and it took people, and that's what we try to provide in that temporary shelter kind of opportunity, is kind of just connecting people to people when they're going through, really tough time. Right now, tonight, we have a couple families in the shelter. We've had a couple move into housing. We have a couple on the verge of moving into housing. But it occurred to me, and I was talking to Mike, our programs director, both those families are dads. One is a grandfather that unexpectedly is now raising his grandchildren, and the other is a single father. And I on Friday, a week ago, I was closing up the firehouse location, and the family was about to go to the overnight shelter at the church. And the dad just looked so tired. He just looked worn down, and the kids were, kind of laughing and playing. They were having a fun time in our area, and I just was reminded about I just want to say humanity. Like, dad's doing everything he can. He's working. He's got the kids. He's just trying to put the pieces together and get his family housed again. He's got so much going on and ahead of him that's going to be fantastic. He's just going through a rough time right now. And I'm just so, humbled when I know that our community can come together and meet that need.
Yes, yes. Grandfathers, talking about grandfathers raising grandchildren.
Yeah.
I know when I was in the children's home ministry, the state of Florida had more grandparents raising their grandchildren than any state in America.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It really did. And
Yeah.
and you were talking about those young people that are aging out of foster care. Do y'all see a lot of that in your program?
We aren't as much. We try to really connect. We do get the calls for it. We are fielding about 300 to 500 calls a month. I mean, to kind of put that in perspective, it's significant. We're not 211, but I'm sure just like your agency, like, people call us for help. So we try to connect to everyone that calls, whether in their message they meet our criteria or not. We're trying to just connect them to the next thing and try to do a warm handoff if we can. And so we do get some of those calls from singles that are youth, and we have wonderful partners. Ways for Life is one of them. We have Crosswinds. We have those opportunities for youth that are 16 to 25. So we do try to connect into those agencies and make sure people get where they need to go, since that's their expertise, that's their area.
Certainly.
Like, that's not our expertise. No different than we're not experts on resume writing. So we're going to connect to
go. There
Career
you go.
Source on that, and try to partner more strongly with them to help people with those kinds of things.
And just when you mentioned that, because I just interviewed a young man,
Yes.
and aged out of, and they put him on the road.
Yes.
They put him on the road.
That's right.
And he'd been through several of them, but it just brought back to my memory when I was still doing a lot of lobbying in Tallahassee for the Christian children's homes and schools, because I wasn't registered a lobbyist, but I could do that because that was our forte.
Yeah.
And when they started trying to pass that bill, and I'm sitting in some of these committee hearings for something else, and I hear these young people get up there and talk about how they've been in a foster family for 7 years,
Yeah.
and they aged out. I mean,
Yes.
3 days later, they're putting them out on the street.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just couldn't believe it. I mean, stories broke my heart. So I
Yeah.
was wondering how much,
Yeah.
if that
We.
was something y'all dealt with
Yeah,
quite
we
often.
get that. We get calls from youth. We get calls from a lot of seniors, singles and seniors that their landlords raised rent and they're on fixed incomes and they
Yeah.
can't afford it. And or they've had someone pass, like their significant other passed away, and they can no longer manage where they are. So there's a need for all types, for sure, all types of housing, all types
Certainly.
of support.
And all it takes is just some. I mean, I've watched health issues that have just put a family, out on the streets.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, in our church, we have a lady that lost her husband,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
she couldn't survive if it wasn't for the church helping her right now.
That's right.
And I think we have to remember, Christ loved us and tells us to love everybody like we want to love our own selves, and the community gets it done around here.
Right.
we were talking about maybe trying to bring the government agencies together, the different cities and things like that. Seems like y'all have done a pretty good job
Yeah, yeah,
up in the north part.
yeah,
Is there a secret to that? Because Amy and I have been discussing that
yeah,
and actually talking with and you know him, you know Kenny Johnson, you
yeah,
know
yeah.
Marcus Smith, and asking them about that. But it seems like there's a lot of
There's
back and forth,
disconnects.
disconnect with
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
and so I finally just said, well, do you think it's left up to us providers to
yeah,
sort of try to start bringing our cities together and our county together and all that kind of stuff? And I
yeah,
think both of them left with sort of, yeah, it's going to be up to you guys doing it because it doesn't
yeah,
seem like they're going to do it.
yeah.
So you got any
It's
secrets to us reaching out and
uh,
doing something like that?
well, all right. Not a secret, but relationships, and it takes time, and it takes a lot of conversations and building trust.
Hmm.
Kind of these economies of trust, and to know that we have a common agenda, even though we're in a different sector, we're serving the same residents.
Yeah.
How can we do better together? And I would say, when I first came to pitch the firehouse idea, I thought they're going to love this. This is a great idea. We're going to move into this firehouse that they own, and we're going to find the money for it. We didn't have the money to renovate it. We're going to find it. And there was, I would say, there's a lot of conversations with the city manager, with Stockton Witten, and he had kind of assumed leadership at the time of the build. We had a council that turned over. We had a mayor seat that turned over, and I had built relationships with the prior, then it was that turned over. I needed to build relationships with the new, and I'm kind of a quick start, so I kind of jump in, and I'm not everybody's cup of tea in that way because I come on with a vision. I'm a visionary, and I can be a little bit strong. So, it's kind of like slow down, and I don't. I am patient for sure, but I am not stopping, right? So I think you know that about me.
I've heard that word
Yeah.
patience many
Yes.
times tonight with talking
Yes.
with the councilman and people like that and asking,
Yes.
and they just say, just keep plugging away, be
Yes.
patient. It's not
Yes.
going to happen overnight, but
Right.
I want it to happen tomorrow.
Yes.
And so I really struggle with that myself. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. So it's I would say for sure it's just a lot of conversations where um it, it's that multi-sector approach that's going to be the key. It's not just when nonprofits come together, we're wonderful, but that's why these work groups can't just be nonprofits. If the work groups include the government, if they include the chambers, if they
Yeah.
include the faith community, if they include the nonprofit sector, if they also include people with lived experience, you're just going to get a better approach than, I may think, hey, this is the way to go. But what we're missing is key critical information from
Certainly.
other sectors to keep some solutions, one, coming to fruition, but two, the sustainability of it over time. It's going to have to be stood up by the community, not
Certainly.
by one agency. And so that's with the firehouse. That was a multi-sector initiative. That was a combination of the government, nonprofit, education, business, faith, community, and philanthropists that came together all to just stand this project up. Couldn't have done it with all. Everyone played a really key role in making it happen. And so I'm just I wanted to do it, but I'm just still as shocked as you are that it actually happened, because I remember standing in front of it saying, like, this building's going to be a service hub. Like, it's going to be amazing, and it's going to meet the needs of families. And today it stands, and
Yeah.
it's a great model of that coming together. So I would say the secret is perseverance. Just to be able to see the long game, and just continuously connect and show up.
And isn't everything really about building relationships? I feel that way. Nancy from the Palm Bay Chamber was here. She was one
Yeah.
of the late ones tonight.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
pulled up and I said, "Oh my
Oh
goodness,
my
what are you doing
goodness.
here at midnight?"
Yeah.
But that was one of the things as we were talking about, and you said, it's just not the nonprofits. We have to have
Yes.
the business involved. We have to have the community involved,
Yes.
and sometimes we leave out the faith, the churches and things like that.
Yeah.
I think it takes all of us coming together as a community
Yep.
But you've done a wonderful job. You
Oh,
really have.
yeah. Thank you.
And
Likewise.
you know,
Likewise. Yeah.
it's just amazing to see what y'all done. It
Yeah.
really is.
Likewise. I've admired you all and your growth and your ability to like dig in and face adversity and keep going. And it's
Well,
hard. The life of a nonprofit leader is not for the faint of heart. Like it's a tough and sometimes very lonely place.
certainly.
And you are, a person I admire and have come to
Well,
know leads with his heart as very definitely a servant leader. And
thank you.
we need more of you in our community for sure.
You know, one of the things, and we'll let the truck pass by. I don't think we have our tech. Oh no, there he is. I'm sorry.
No, you're
Uh,
good.
you know, one of the things that and a lot of people don't realize this, how much the faith-based organizations are involved in overnight shelter. And I've said this probably 4 or 5 times tonight, but in America, over 70% of the overnight shelters each and every night are offered and taken care of by faith-based
Yes.
communities.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you know, we're doing the job, but we have to have those others, like we talked about, that are involved in it. And I just want to help people.
Yeah.
I just want to help people. We were talking about the changes we've already made.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't going to take babies.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't going to take anyone under
Yeah.
a certain age.
Yeah.
And, you know, here we were open 3 months, and
Yeah.
my wife and one of our board members walks in with a lady with a baby.
Yes.
You know, I
Yeah.
think 3 or 4 months old.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and I think with some of the funding that's going to be going on and things like that,
Yeah.
and Amber and I were talking, I said, we're just going to have to make some changes in the way we do things
Right.
and fulfill it and
Yeah.
continue moving forward with what God's got us doing.
I agree. I was going to say, I in multiple times through the years would say, we're never going to do ... and whatever it is. Like we've ended up doing those things. So it started with like, we'll never accept financial assistance to help, help a family avoid eviction. Because I said, like, how do you decide which
No.
family to help? Because there's so many. What we recognized is that eviction prevention is like way less costly, much less traumatic if we could just keep a family in housing. And so we started to help manage some county funds and some municipal funds that help with financial assistance, because it helped us to keep families from coming to shelter since there's not enough shelter beds. But that was one of the nevers. We'll never do it. And we've done it for a lot of years, and it's been a great resource for families. But it has to be paired with that case management that
Certainly.
is going to like work on building assets to stay housed.
I think upgrading our case management has been the best thing we've done since I've
Yes.
been there in the
Yeah.
last 11 years.
Yeah.
And then, you know, across the board, though, in rescue mission work,
Yeah.
the success rate gets lower and lower, or you have to stay longer and longer in the
Yeah.
program to do it.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing a lot of people get out.
Yeah.
You know, there's openings for CEOs and some of the
Yeah.
largest missions that have been around for forever
Years and
right
years.
now.
Yeah.
And,
the barriers are so great
it-
to
it-
housing
It
and to
really
stability.
is. It really
Mhm.
is. So
It's a hard time.
my prayer is that God would just drop a old motel, or I mean something that's not going to take everything,
Yes.
but you know, apartment building or something like that, so we could start helping in whatever direction we needed to, whether it
Right.
be family, single mother, you know, single man, father with children.
Yeah.
Just back, you know, we get some of those trailers that come off the beach over there that are 1 bedrooms and things like that. We're able to give it to a father who just, you know, ended up him and his 2 children,
Yes.
and you know,
Yes.
they're sleeping on the pull-out sofa,
Yeah.
but we're able to donate that to them
that's
so they
right.
could stay together as a family unit. And but I thank you for what y'all are doing.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
So what time do you go work out? 4:45?
I go. What time is it now? No. So I usually get up about now.
Oh,
So this
now,
is not
okay,
too
all right,
bad.
all
Yeah,
right.
I'm a CrossFitter, which is we're like a like very sick people. I guess we like to beat ourselves up and do things that hurt our bodies, but it gets all the stress out for me. I can't
There you
run
go.
anymore, so I have to do something to kind of
Yeah.
help me stay a little bit sane and keep getting up every day and doing this work. So that's my thing. So
Well, I do appreciate you coming
Mhm.
out, especially this time of day, and
Yeah.
just sharing with us. And pray that we have some good, strong conversations. We'd like to hear from some of the businesses around here.
Yes.
You hear the complaints and things like
Yeah.
that, but we'd like to get it out and open. We're not doing this as a fundraiser or anything like
Yeah.
that. We just want some good conversation and try to find some solutions to the problems that we have.
Yeah.
And so, you got anything you'd like to close out with? Any
Oh my
advice
gosh.
for us or anything like that?
Any advice or
It's not gonna
closing
cost me
out?
any money?
I
No,
know
I'm
that's
sticking
going to
with you.
cost you any money.
No, I'm just playing with you.
Yeah, it's hard. I realize there may not be a lot of people watching at 4:47 or what the time, but my hope truly is that people who may see this that are saying, well, how can I help? What can I do? I guess I want to say is there's a way. Everyone can help in some way. And you don't have to have a lot of money or time or resources. But what we've really leaned into is that like everyone's got, time, talent, treasure in some way, whatever that may look like. When people say, well, I'm just not sure how I can help. And it's like, well, what do you do? Or what are you passionate about? And as soon as they start talking about what they do, what they're passionate about, it kind of presents itself
Rolls over.
it just kind of presents itself. It's maybe they are a chef and they can help create some meals. Maybe they are a plumber and they can come fix. We
a
had
toilet.
somebody yesterday at our static site show up to paint, and we had a plumbing issue, and they're like, actually, I do this for a living, and so it was just, there's a way that everyone can be part of the solution, and it doesn't necessarily mean money. And money's good. Money is really good. So please.
And make sure you
please.
say that because
I know.
this is going to be replayed during
Oh,
the daytime
good.
and everything.
Oh,
so people are
good.
going to see it.
Yes. So
Yeah.
money
money,
is
money,
needed.
honey.
Money
Yeah.
is needed. And I want to say that our nonprofits that are addressing homelessness are good stewards of funding that comes in. So when you support one of those organizations that you'll see, it's going to keep people in need connected to the right people and going in the right direction.
Certainly.
And you can
Certainly.
count on that. And please donate unrestricted funds so that we can operate.
Sure.
We can't operate without paying for our infrastructure. So
you
we
go.
need to keep the lights on. And so when you donate and just give, give just general, give. Some people say, well, I just want it to go to this, or I just want it to go to that. We can do that.
Certainly.
It's helpful. But when we can just have people give and let us, trust us to do the right things for the people we're serving, we'll do the right things.
There you go.
But, people may have space or clothing or furniture or time to serve on a board or a committee, or maybe they can introduce us to people, leverage your relationships,
There you go.
There's so many ways that people can be involved. And there's so many missions here in this county that there's got to be one that you're passionate
can fit
about,
in. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Where you
certainly.
feel like you
Yeah.
fit. So there's a place for everyone in the solution and in every sector. So I would say that those are my parting words is if you see this, you're inspired to do something, like just act, just do one thing, maybe just you call up CETA and you make a donation.
Come by and volunteer.
Come by or volunteer.
Most of us have a little bit of time left.
That's right.
Something like that.
Yeah. And if you're not sure, test us out. Like,
That's
come
it.
by. Like, call us on the phone. Yeah.
Yeah,
Come by and help and see how we are in action and see if we're a fit for you or your time. And we'd love to utilize your strengths. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being the leader that you are.
Thank you.
The visionary that you are.
Yep.
And the Lord, I see where the Lord's used you
Yeah.
greatly.
Yeah.
And you haven't slowed down
No,
and you've never given up.
not
So
yet.
just keep on going and keep on going. Appreciate you being here tonight.
Likewise.
Or this
Thank you.
morning.
This
I keep
morning.
forgetting this morning.
Yeah. Let's go
It's been
get some coffee.
There you-
Let's go, buddy.
right over there, man.
Okay.
I got a big old pot
That's
over there.
right.
But anyway,
That's
thank you
right.
so much.
Yeah.
John, you ready to take us
You're
out?
watching Conversations on a Bench, a 24 hours live stream raising awareness about homelessness, while sharing real conversations about homelessness, addiction, and mental health. We're also collecting tangible items to help those in need to support families at New Life Mission and residents at Cedar Rescue Mission. Visit our bench in downtown Melbourne anytime, from October 9th at 3 p.m. to Friday 10th at 3 p.m. across from 407 East New Haven Avenue.
I couldn't really think about the future at all, like further than what we're gonna eat for dinner.
I didn't really see a future before I got here.
Join us on October 23rd at the American Muscle Car Museum for Opening Doors for Women, a red carpet fundraiser dedicated to helping homeless women with children find stability and hope. Hosted by New Life Mission, this event raises critical funds to help families move from dependency to self-sufficiency, all in a Christ-centered environment. It's a night of inspiring stories and meaningful connections. As an attendee, you'll be part of a caring community committed to making a difference. Together, we can open the doors that transform homeless families for generations.
If I tell you the many doors that it has opened, we'll be here all day. It's the village that we needed. If you're facing homelessness, if you're facing abusiveness, whatever you're facing, it's hope. And you're going to find it here at New Life Mission.
At Retreat Restrooms, we believe everyone deserves a clean and healthy environment, no matter where they are. As a Marine veteran, I built this company on the values of excellence, reliability, and care, bringing high standards and comfortable restrooms to every mission, event, and emergency.
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful girl who lived in a castle.
I was a heroin addict and was living on the couches of people that I would do drugs with.
The little girl lived with her mom and dad, who loved her very much.
So I was 7 when my parents had divorced. The cops came and arrested my dad, and my mom went to a women's shelter, and she sent me to live with my grandfather, who wasn't physically able to care for me. So I pretty much raised myself.
The little girl loved to spend time with her family and friends. She also likes coloring and chasing butterflies.
When I was 11, my uncle molested my best friend, and then he tried to come for me. I basically fought for my life.
One day, the little girl packed a picnic lunch for 2 and went on her way to grandmother's house.
As a young girl, I battled eating disorders, and I was very unhealthy. I just didn't know how to make good choices for myself.
As the little girl made her way to grandmother's house, she came across a lonely giant. He looked sad, so she stopped to see if he needed help.
So I met my husband when I was 19 at a party. He sold drugs as a side job, and that's how my addiction started. By the age of, I'd say about 23, I was pregnant with my daughter. I stayed clean during that time, started to live a normal life. The first time I used with my father, I was 22.
The little girl noticed that the giant was injured and hungry, so she shared her lunch with him and helped him find his way home.
My husband basically was ready to get sober, and I was not. So he left me at that time, and I was left homeless. I was in and out of jail.
After the little girl said goodbye to the giant, she continued to grandmother's house, but soon realized she'd strayed off the path along the way.
Eventually, I met someone that was a nurse, and he wanted to take care of me and help me with my daughter, and we got married shortly after. He never wanted me to work or leave the house. I noticed as time went on. He seemed very helpful, but I was pretty confused. I knew he loved me, but I knew something wasn't right about it. He sabotaged friendships and He tried to get in the way of some of my family relationships.
Looking around the woods, she tried to find something that looked familiar to help her remember her way back. Every which way she turned, she felt more lost than before.
I was pregnant with my son and gave birth. At that time, my daughter was still living with her dad, part-time, and my ex-husband relapsed. So this was a turning point for me. I saw myself in my daughter, and I remembered my childhood when I was her age. That's when I knew something had to change, and I needed to get her out of that situation.
When the little girl realized she was lost, she felt scared and alone.
So I was able to get full custody of my daughter, but things got worse from there. He was mentally abusive to my daughter. I think he was jealous of my children spending time with me and wanted me all to himself. So after being married for him for 10 plus years, I finally decided to leave. He died suddenly of a heart attack. So, even though our life together was very unhealthy, I was somewhat stable and clean with him. I was clean and stable. And so he helped me do all that. And then he was gone.
You're watching Conversations on a Bench, a 24 hours live stream raising awareness about homelessness, while sharing real conversations about homelessness, addiction, and mental health. We're also collecting tangible items to help those in need to support families at New Life Mission and residents at Cedar Rescue Mission. Visit our bench in downtown Melbourne anytime, from October 9th at 3 p.m. to Friday 10th at 3 p.m. across from 407 East New Haven Avenue.
Well, when I had first come to New Life, they were broken. We were all broken. And God just walked alongside me and healed me through that journey. My daughter was, going through some mental health crisis of her own at that time, and I was given advice and resources in the community that helped me so much. And I just had support. I really just needed someone to walk with me alongside. God, they helped me so much. So much. And she lived
Happily ever after.
Unfortunately, due to some financial challenges, we're going to have to lay you off.
Your application's been rejected. You're going to have to raise your rent.
We're going to have to evict you.
I want you out of here in 10 days.
You can't bring your son here tomorrow unless your card is on the card. I'm so sorry.
I want you out of here. You can't park here in 10 days.
Hey, this is New Life Mission. I have good news. I'm calling to let you know we have a place for you.
For 15 years, New Life Mission has been opening its doors to homeless single mothers and their children. We equip homeless mothers to transform their families for generations. Through education, accountability, and goal advancement, our program equips and empowers them to self-sufficiency. We believe accountability is the key to achieving long-term success. We walk alongside our families and are committed to compassionately providing educational opportunities, job training, and life skills necessary for success. Above all, we believe in the transformative power of a relationship with Jesus Christ and are committed to sharing this message of hope to all of the people we serve. We know the program works, but we need your help. We're asking our community to help us open doors for more families. You're invited to join us for a fundraiser hosted by the American Muscle Car Museum. Learn more about New Life Mission and how you can help us open doors for homeless mothers and their children. You'll also get to view the private collection of over 400 muscle cars, enjoy heavy hors d'oeuvres and drinks, and participate in a live and silent auction.
Hey everybody, Amy Lyon from New Life Mission, and we're back on the bench till 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. But right now we have a special treat. We have Lillian. Lillian, tell us who you are and your entire life story. 30 seconds. Go.
30 seconds. My name is Lily McDermott, and I am a certified life coach, a certified holistic cancer coach, and the host of the Lillian McDermott radio show that I now call The Classroom.
Woohoo!
And so the goal is to take ownership for our life, no matter what's going on. And so responsibility is the key word of the program that we do, because I think we've lost our power. We've given away our power, not just lost it, but given away our power. And so my purpose is to empower women and men and children and everybody who will listen or follow me in the classroom at whenyouneedafriend.com to continue taking back ownership and saying, I can do all things because God is in us.
Yeah.
God is in us.
So how does that, okay, so you're homeless, right?
Okay.
You're, not you. Someone is homeless, and they don't have hope. They don't think they can do anything. Where do they go? How do people get that energy when they've lost hope to keep going forward?
So what I would say to that may sound simple, but you surround yourself with like-minded people. Unfortunately, when you're homeless, you're surrounded by other homeless people, one would think. So I would say that it's so important for us to be out there and bring this hope to the people. Look at them in the eyes and say, you are enough. You can do this. I believe in you. Because everybody needs somebody to believe in them, right? Everybody.
So a lot of homeless people burn every bridge, right? The people that have been close to them. Now that's with addiction. They're not doing this purposely, and I'm not making a generalization, but a lot of the people that we've seen, their families no longer want to pick up the phone when they call.
Yeah.
So,
unconditional love is so important. That's the other thing I talk about is, we can't give up on people. But I understand we do step away because sometimes it is painful to see those we love suffer the way they do, unnecessarily. They have all the resources that we could offer them, but yet the bottom line is the person who believes in that lack is because somehow that's in their belief system. Somewhere along the way that seed was planted, and others had nurtured it, also watered it, and made that seed of I'm not enough, not enoughness. And that's why I love what I do, is that I help people rewrite the programming. Rewrite the programming, because the brain doesn't know the difference between do or don't. It doesn't know the difference. It just knows what you focus on. And when you focus on something, whether you're saying, I don't want it or I do want it, doesn't matter what is focused on after, because that's what we focus on. So if you're focusing on what you don't want, you get more of what you don't want.
Yeah.
And what happens is when we're in this place where we feel we're not enough, we have that thought, we're not enough, then we have the feeling that we're not worthy to do anything, and then the action or inaction.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's more than one person. It takes a village. We need to encourage. And that's why I love New Life Mission, and I'm just beginning to hear about CETA, which I want both of you to be on my show.
Done.
Okay, good.
We would love to.
So we can talk about that. And so many years ago, I met a guy named Willie Baronet. I don't know if you know Willie Baronet, but he did a documentary called Signs of Humanity.
Okay.
And this documentary, they bought signs for homeless people, and they were able to tell the story. When they purchased the signs of each one, they would give them $5, $50. And Willie,
because there is a story there for every human being,
Correct.
right? And part of what we're doing is we're educating the public about what really goes on behind the scenes with each of these people experiencing homelessness. So what, from a life coach standpoint,
okay.
So anybody listening right now, anybody watching that's like, I mean, what can I do? I can't, it'd be a drop in the bucket, my help. What do you say to them?
Well, that drop can run the cup over.
Right.
That drop could make a difference. So we don't know where we belong in that container, where it could overflow. But I always say, and I have this image, that sometimes when our vessel becomes too big, it takes a lot of drops to allow us to overflow, and that's when joy comes. That's when achievements come. Sometimes we need to have our vessel be like like one of those thumb, that you do. Thimble. That's it. A thimble. And so we need to just take an ownership to have that vessel of a thimble.
Okay.
So that we can see the flow of that humanity in everybody we see. And one of the things that Willie Baronet taught me is that the people that are homeless, we ourselves don't want to look at them. So we need to become in tune with why we don't want to look at them. And he did that. And what he discovered about himself was that he feared being homeless himself. And I think we all have that fear. And maybe
so
that's
if
why we don't
somebody
look at
doesn't
them.
have that fear, I want to know what people in the chat, like maybe why you don't want to stop, you don't want to help somebody. We'll talk later about why you shouldn't stop and why you shouldn't support panhandling, but what is your fear about getting involved? So
it's a question that we all need to be self-cleaning ovens, right? So if once we are in alignment with what our thought, our feelings, and our actions are, that's when the flow of what God can do in our life can happen. And I know it's simple, but people that work with your organization and CETAs as well, New Life Mission and CETA and House of Hope, and there's others out there. God bless all of you because you are doing the things that we might want to do, but maybe are not being called to do in the same way. We can all be a part of it. Like me having you in my program is my way of supporting,
sharing.
Exactly. Like right now, you're being shared on my Facebook page as well.
Hey.
Yes.
Oh, hey.
Yes. So I'm excited about that.
You're watching Conversations on a Bench, a 24 hours live stream raising awareness about homelessness, while sharing real conversations about homelessness, addiction, and mental health. We're also collecting tangible items to help those in need to support families at New Life Mission and residents at CETA Rescue Mission. Visit our bench in downtown Melbourne anytime, from October 9th at 3 p.m. to Friday 10th at 3 p.m., across from 407 East New Haven Avenue.
Come on, guys.
Okay,
Come on
all right.
around me. Come on in.
Okay,
We can
hello.
share a microphone. We'll be good. Hi, everybody. We're back here, New Life Mission, Butterfly, and we are so lucky to have our friends Anne-Marie and Anne-Marie. That's right. Anne-Marie Britt, Anne-Marie Gusky. Yes.
And they are here. You guys tell them. Tell them what you're doing.
Well, we are from First Baptist Church of Merritt Island, and we represent all the ministries on Magnolia Avenue. I'm here helping represent the House of Hope Food and Clothing Ministry, and Anne-Marie is the executive director of Agape Women's Center.
You want me to talk about Agape?
Tell us.
Okay.
Tell us who you are.
So Agape Women's Center is 35 years old this year. They were started by First Baptist Church of Merritt Island 35 years ago. The church had a heart for women that were facing unplanned pregnancies. Many of these women were single moms, and they needed a safe place to go, a place where they could receive resources like diapers and wipes. And so that was how Agape started. And over the years, we've just continued to expand. In 2020, we had a client that came through our doors that we realized was being trafficked. And so her story really opened our eyes to the fact that being a crisis pregnancy center puts us in the front lines of serving women that are being trafficked. And so we started doing outreach and started a drop-in center where these women, especially women that are on the street, can come in and do laundry. They can take a shower, get hygiene products, food boxes, just anything that we can provide to give women a safe place to come and just share their story and know that it's all confidential.
So what makes you, with your heart? Thank you. What in your heart makes you just amazing at what you do and out there on the front lines, both of you?
Wow. Well, I have a heart for outreach. And so when I came to Agape, that was really my heart, was to get beyond the brick and mortar and to be out in the community serving the women that are most vulnerable around us. I feel like God has just always given me a heart for women and a heart for vulnerable women. And so we're going into areas where we know these women are living. We have a street outreach that goes every week into areas where women are prostituting in order to survive. And we're bringing them hygiene products and also the hope of Christ.
And a House of Hope is across the street from Agape. Everybody may know them as a food pantry, I think we're feeding nearly 2,000 people every Monday from 6:30 in the morning to 10:30 in the morning with food boxes. So it's not hot food, but anybody who's food insecure or homeless comes, they get a food box, sometimes up to 5 meats. So you can have 5 frozen packs of meat, which can feed your family for a lot. And they can fill a giant banana box. And where that helps is that single moms who are in need of food, anybody who's food insecure, anyone on single incomes, anyone that's in disability, they can come. I think our population for the homeless is less than 10% of who's coming to House of Hope. Mostly it's people who are on that fringe. And then we're able to support them. And if they do need housing and programs, we can push them into the programs that are around. A little known secret about the House of Hope is they have about 9 units of men's transitional housing behind the House of Hope. They have mentorship programs, and those guys are getting right out of prison. They're coming out of jail. They need a place to stay. They need stability. Or I'm going to shout out to Steve Young, who is the executive director at the House of Hope. He is so great at finding a man who is in addiction, in active addiction, who may come up to that House of Hope all the time looking for food. Look him in the eye and say, are you ready? Are you ready to get off drugs? Are you ready to meet Christ? They have to be ready. And so when they're ready, even if they're full of drugs and alcohol, he will put them with the money that we have on a plane and fly him to upstate New York to our partner ministry and send them to a rehab facility. They have to want to go. We've had many men say, I'll come, and not show up that Monday to get on the plane. But sometimes they come back and we put them on that plane and they have a wonderful success rate. Like you guys, it's almost like a 90% success rate of once they get up there in the mountain and they go through this program of transitional out of drugs and alcohol and into a new life, they learn woodworking and they're building houses, and the men are doing all of this stuff and replacing their addictions with Christ, with programming, with all the right stuff. And then they can transition back to House of Hope and stay in that housing. So that's super cool. Then they can feed back into the House of Hope program. We've got some wonderful stories of men who have overcome addiction through Christ, through House of Hope, met some women at Agape, have families. I mean, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So they're creative solutions, right?
Absolutely.
Out of the box thinking.
Yes.
People who are brave enough to say, what if?
What if we
Mhm.
tried this? What if we tried that?
And as we always say, it's not linear, right? So we're going to go in and we're going to get rehab and we're going to come out maybe hopefully they're going to stay over a year, right? We know that it takes time for any of our programs or any programming to work. Even when they come out, they're going to struggle, they're going to fall, they're going to have problems. We want them to come back. We want them to see the grace of Christ, and then we want them to be able to try again because there is a better life out there. I mean, I think you see it all the time. Do you want to talk about the strip club ministry?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Let's go.
Well, first I wanted to, before I talk about our outreach into, yeah, I know I can feel the.
I'm glad there's
the
sun.
It's not rain.
I love that we are able to just have this relationship with New Life Mission and even Helen's House that we can call and say, hey, we have a woman that we think could be a good fit for your program, and that we've been able to send ladies to you and to see them thrive and do well. And that is such a blessing. So I'm grateful for our
That's what
partnership.
community and partnership look like.
Yes.
That's a perfect example.
So Agape has an outreach program. We started this about 4 years ago, and we go into area strip clubs. We go as Agape Women's Center, but the ladies call us the church ladies. That is what they've called us. And so we have embraced that name and we call ourselves the church ladies. But we go because so many of the ladies working in these clubs are vulnerable for our services. We know that no woman that's working there really wants to be there. She's there because she's surviving. And this is maybe the one thing that is keeping her off the street. And so we go in with gifts every month just to let this girl know that she is loved, that she is seen, that she has value. And if she needs our resources, we are here to help her.
And they come. I mean, as you may know, they come and they come to the drop-in center at Agape. They get food from House of Hope. And then when they say they're ready to get off, I don't want to say off the pole, but out of the streets. And I just said that. I said it on live broadcast. Is what I said. When they're ready to change their employment and make a difference in their life, that often will bring them into homelessness. Because they've been working in an area where the money is a lot different than if they're working at the Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
So now they're coming to us saying, I've met Christ, I've gotten baptized, I've come into Bible study, I want to change my life. Yeah. Wow. And the biggest hurdle at that point is feeding and clothing and roof over their head of their children. And so I'm so proud of the women who come to us and say, I'm ready, but I can't pay my rent next month because I'm not in the club anymore. Yeah. And that we can call and say, this one's a good egg. She's ready for a program. And then to move over to like a New Life Mission program or anything in the community that suits them, they can get the therapy they need. They can get the programming they need. They get the support they need.
How else would you make that
Do you need
transition?
this?
I don't think so.
You have this, right?
Oh, no, this is super secret service coming through my ear. Yep. So then I was saying something.
Programming, sorry.
Yes, how do you make that transition? You know, if you make that decision and you want it, but you have to pay your bills and you need a roof over your head and your kids need childcare and one of them's sick, and you keep doing what you're doing because that has kept you alive and that's how you've survived.
Right. And that's the grace, right, Anne-Marie?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we see these ladies that are, they want out, but they don't know how to get out, and they're stuck in that survival mode of they have a job and then a child gets sick and then they lose their job, and so they're in that cycle. And so places like New Life Mission that can come along and help with the housing is so critical for them. And then places like Agape that are offering the parenting classes, pregnancy classes, the food boxes, therapy. We have women that we send to Live Well Behavioral Health and are paying for their therapy because there often is sometimes mental illness or addiction, so that they're getting the mental health that they need. That's also critical. But above all, it's Jesus, and it's introducing them to Christ.
I'll tell you what's shocking is the strip club ministry and the partnership with human trafficking. Because that mess, that we could sit on the bench for 3 days talking about that, but that is a hard transition as well, because that's a mindset shift of like, that's not my boyfriend. This was coercion. I didn't understand that's what that was. That's a lot of therapy, right, that we're seeing our girls go through, and then having to partner with specific ministries that can handle women that take that. I mean, if they have kids and they can go into New Life Mission, you guys can handle it. But if they're just one woman and you only take women with children, right? Helen's House has been great to take some of the women and then release Sarah's Roots. She can have a tiny home that they're thriving in. I mean, it takes the whole community. There's room for
And there's
everyone.
still a need for more housing.
I was just
There's
gonna say, it's
never
not enough.
housing for women. Women with children is always such a need that we see.
So not everybody has the desire to be on the front lines, going into the strip clubs, doing the things that we're doing every day. So how do they help? How do the people watching now saying, well, you know, I really see this as a problem, but I don't know what to do. What can they do?
Well, first, they can donate and support all of the ministries, because to keep us operating costs money, and that's not the pretty part. It's not fun to ask for operating costs, but they're critical to keep our doors open. We're having a gala in January. I know you're having your opening your doors for homelessness, probably. Like, there's definitely connect. Find out how to monthly support local ministries that you're passionate about. And make sure that they are doing what you want them doing. There's plenty in town to support and give monthly income to. Also, you can volunteer in other ways. I would definitely say you can give food, literally, to House of Hope Food and Clothing Ministry, to Cedar Rescue Mission, diapers, to Agape, to New Life Mission, toilet paper. It's not fun, but we need it, right? Everybody needs those practical application items that we need to fund ministries with. And also, if you have a heart and can volunteer with your family, I know a lot of our ministries are family friendly. So you can come, bring the family, volunteer at a trick-or-treating event, come to Agape, do a serve day. House of Hope loves to have families. Kids love to pass out a can of beans on a Monday morning.
Well, and if you can start with the children, teaching them young what it means to give back and to help. I mean, how beautiful is that? That's a generational change happening there.
100%. And clothing donations are also big. House of Hope has free clothing boutique where anyone can shop on a Monday, come in 10 minutes, pick 5 items, shoes, clothing, no questions asked if anybody needs anything. So I know a lot of people are cleaning out their closets and they don't want to drive to the Goodwill drive-through, right? That drop off. So come to the House of Hope on Merritt Island. There's a little drop box on the corner of South Tropical and Magnolia Avenue. You bring anything there and any baby items for Agape Women's Center. My truck is full right now of items for some of the girls at New Life who were texting us saying, I forgot I had all these points from my parenting class. Would it be okay if I got diapers and whatever?
Because we have worked together, and some of the women from your program have come to New Life Mission. So that's what the community is about, and that collaboration, because we say it and it makes a great bumper sticker. We're better together, but honestly,
it's true.
We don't have to duplicate services or reinvent the wheel. We just
Yeah. And I love that so many more programs are figuring that out. Like Lauren Johnson at Sarah's Roots. She doesn't want to do any of the things that everybody else is doing, but I can get you a tiny house. I could put you in there, and then you can link into the services that are, I think, trellis, she calls it. She's got this beautiful flourish, thrive, all these flower ideas, which you love, I know. And I love that, because why are we duplicating services? There's never enough, of course, but to work together collaboratively is the best way to help our community and to help us not get burnt out, because burnout is real in this area.
You mentioned generational, and I think that's something else that we see often at Agape is this is generational. This is how these ladies' parents survived and lived. This is how the grandparents survived and lived. And so my heart is also to break that generational and to show them that there is something better. And that's why I love our parenting classes. We do life skills to bring in people from the community that can really teach these ladies that there is something better, and to give them the tools that they need to empower them and to get ahead in life and to break that cycle that they're in.
And it's hard, I think, to show people that something's different when that's all they've ever known.
Right.
It's not normal for them to live the way we've lived. As you know, my girls came from homelessness, and I think of their birth mom all the time when she said to me, why would I do anything different? It didn't cross her mind that something different was something she could ever achieve, because her mom didn't do that. And it wasn't modeled to her. And so we live in a tent, and this tent is great, and I don't do anything other than this. And I'm thinking, don't you want more? well, I don't have the hope because I don't think I can do it, because I never saw it modeled and I didn't think I could do it. So to watch people break out of that is a big deal.
It is
I
a
don't
big
think we give them
and
enough.
it can be uncomfortable for them, right? Because your comfort zone, it might not be healthy, it might be toxic, but you can survive in it. So why don't I just stay here? And then if I step out, it's like, oh, that's uncomfortable. So I'm going to jump back in.
That's what I think people on the outside don't understand. Why can't they just? Why don't they just? They
That
can't.
is their normal. That's what they know.
So we're teaching them a new normal. We don't love that term, but we really are.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to figure it out. We're
trying.
going to figure it out. You guys, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Yes. Any final words that you want to say? Like, what is Anne Marie? I mean, to say what is the solution to homelessness, I don't even.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm not even sure.
Only Jesus. We love
Only
to say
Jesus.
but God
But
at
God.
Agape.
Yeah.
We see so many stories where it just seems and feels so hopeless, but God. We see him step in and intervene and turn these situations around, and it's only God. It's only by
It
his
is,
grace.
and it's surrender on many, many, many levels. I mean, I think of women I've heard at graduations at New Life where they've said, I did not want to do this, and I railed against you at every turn, but I'm so glad I listened, because now I'm in a place that I never thought I could be before. And that's true surrender, but not to people, right? It's surrender to Christ and to Jesus, and to saying, I'm a mess.
Right.
I can't do this on my own. This is not of my own power. And so when things start to fall in place, that is a but God moment. That's only God is going to do that. And then that act of surrender is not once, that is over and over and over and over and over again. And that's hard for people who want to control things. I mean, not that I know anything about that, but to control your life and to control things around you, they're giving up everything to go into these programs and off the street.
Can I share for a minute about one of our mutual clients that we have?
Yep.
Because she's just an amazing but God story. And we met her in just a really dark place in her life and helped her attempt to kind of get out of an industry that was really pulling her down. And it took her several attempts. We would see her leave and she would do well, and then life would happen. A payment would come up that was unexpected and she wouldn't have the money, and she would spiral, and then she would end up back in the industry to try to make that quick money. And it took her several attempts, and then finally she just said, I surrender. God, I'm surrendering to you. I cannot do this. And she will tell you that he had to really just break her. But it's in that breaking that she saw his grace and his mercy and his love pour through. And it was hard for her to make that decision to go to New Life. She was terrified because that was such a surrender.
Yeah.
But God, she is doing amazing. And when
doing
she
amazing.
updates me, it just thrills my heart to see what God's doing in her life.
And those are the stories that keep us going.
100%. That's all we have.
Yes. So, well, thank you guys so much for coming. Everybody stay tuned, because we are going to have some city officials here. We just have so much going on. Stay tuned.
You're watching Conversations on a Bench, a 24 hours live stream raising awareness about homelessness, while sharing real conversations about homelessness, addiction, and mental health. We're also collecting tangible items to help those in need, to support families at New Life Mission and residents at Cedar Rescue Mission. Visit our bench in downtown Melbourne anytime, from October 9th at 3 p.m. to Friday 10th at 3 p.m. across from 407 East New Haven Avenue.
The first feeling I had when I found out I was actually going to be a mom, it actually wasn't when I was pregnant with my oldest. I actually found out I was first going to be a mom when I was 17. I did unfortunately have a miscarriage, but for me, I believe God does everything with a purpose. So my name is Monica, and I've been in the program since July 1st of 2024. So one of my favorite memories, I feel like a lot of moms say, is the birth of my kids. For me, it was special. My oldest, I was a young mom. I was 19, so she kind of was an experience for me. But I got to have family around me, so it was definitely a big memory that was very important to me. For me, my son, just having him and bringing him home and seeing his older sister get very excited to see that she had a sibling just made me feel so warm and whole. My last one, Paisley. My best memory actually with her was after, and it was really kind of connecting a little bit more at home because I did unfortunately have some postpartum, but kind of going through those with her and growing with her showed me how much more I could connect even in those moments of darkness. And she's kind of inspired me to grow a little bit more in my mental health. All of the love, the challenges, the pushing that I get from my kids, I learn new things every day from them. One of the most proudest moments I can say is seeing myself grow from where I was. I'm sure a lot of moms can say that they're not proud of a lot of the things that they've done growing up and where they started as a mom. I can say I definitely made some mistakes in the beginning being a young mom, but seeing where I am now and where I've been, I could definitely say God's been a very important part for me, just walking with me in different seasons and showing me that it's okay to make mistakes as long as we learn from them. It's been a tough journey, but definitely so far we've made it very far, and definitely glad to have my 3 kids and to keep seeing where we're gonna go. What I would tell myself at 18, I would tell her to just be patient, to be understanding, to have more grace, and to be more open to resources and not feel like I had to do it all on my own. Some hopes that I have for my kids. I just hope that they one day understand that even though we did go through a tough time growing up, that every decision I made was so that they could have a better life and a better connection with God, and that hope they just never have to struggle the way that I did and several moms have had to, and that they will have that connection with each other, to support each other, to love each other, to know to go to God first, be able to have loving partners in the future, and to kind of walk hand in hand and know that I'll always be there for them to count on, to not fear that they won't have any food or shelter. I kind of just hope that they don't ever think that they're never enough. It's hard work, but anything that's worth it is hard work. Where we're at now, my kids are feeling a lot better, and I'm feeling a lot better and very safe, and I feel like I got to build that connection with my kids. Definitely, I feel like as long as you are open to change, it'll be worth it.
Hey everybody, we're gonna do a little seat shuffle right now. Melissa, why don't you go in the middle? We're gonna put you right in the middle.
I'll sit over there. You sit there. Okay?
One more time. Wait, you go there. I'll go over here. Wait, buddy, get up. Just kidding.
Swap.
We're professionals, all right? We are professionals. We are back with Melissa.
Yes.
And Melissa is going to talk to us about all of the things that Melissa is going to talk to us about. We're so glad you came out on the bench.
Thank you.
Just give us an overview of who you are and the program.
I am Melissa Brandt. I am an outreach specialist with Recovery Connections of Central Florida. We currently have drop-in centers and centers in Seminole and Orange County, and I thought it'd be great to come by today and partner and talk with everyone to let you know that we're soft opening next week on West Hibiscus, right behind the mall. And so yes, we're a non-clinical, peer certified specialist for substance misuse. We have a drop-in center. It's 1632, I think, West Hibiscus. I'm from Titusville. We're getting ready to open a small center as well in Titusville. But I have brought brochures, and what we are basically is
Recovery Connections.
That's correct.
Yep.
And we just welcome people who need navigation to recovery, whatever that looks like for them. Like I said, we're non-clinical, but we can definitely pair them with clinical, people in the field, or they will meet with a peer specialist once a week after they do an assessment, and we let them tell us how their recovery looks, and we help them through it at that point. If it's about housing, sometimes it's about basics, the hierarchy of needs. So we help them either with housing or transportation. We'll even have them Uber from where they're at to our center to get them there. So we do a lot in the other 2 counties right now, and we're hoping that this will help Brevard as far as anyone struggling with substance abuse.
Okay, so you've been in 2 other counties. So can you tell us how that compares to Brevard County, or what you've heard of here that we needed you here?
That's why I'm glad I'm here. I cannot speak for the other 2 counties simply for the fact the organization started in 2022.
Okay.
And since that time, they have seen 3,500 people, participants. So they have been doing extremely well and keeping very busy. I was with Brevard County. I came from Housing and Human Services, and I kept seeing this name pop up over and over because we as a county had opioid abatement funds, and this organization kept coming and telling their story. And I am a parent of someone in long-term recovery at this point, but he battled substance misuse for 15 years. And I thought and I've seen him homeless and I've seen him hungry, but I thought to myself, if I could make a difference with an organization like that, I'm going to step out of my comfort zone.
Look at you.
And I'm going to go do some outreach and get some people some help that 15 years ago really wasn't available.
Okay.
And really, in Brevard, it's been scarce. I mean, let's face it,
And Buddy really, CETA Rescue Mission, Helen's House, they really, New Life Mission doesn't take anyone in active addiction. We look to our partners in the community that will refer people to us.
Okay.
So, Buddy, what questions do you have? Like, how can her organization, Recovery Connections, help CETA?
Can you sort of give us an idea of, let's say that I show up, I'm looking for recovery.
Yes.
And so can you sort of walk us through how you would help me?
Yes, we would. First of all, if you show up to one of our centers, we would get you with a certified peer specialist who would do an assessment on you, do capital scoring on you, and just see where you're at. What are your needs? Do you have immediate needs? Do you have needs that you tell us, like, what is your pathway to recovery? It may be, I want to go to the gym 5 days a week, or it may be, I want to attend church, or you may need medicated assisted treatment, right? So we will help navigate what that looks like. So basically, we are providing the connections, but at our drop-in center, we have career, things that they can work on, resumes. We have computer center. We have just drop in, have a recliner seat, watch some TV, have some coffee, wait on your peer. But what we ask is that you give us once a week. You come in, you meet with us, you set your goals, and we help you achieve those goals. And hopefully it could be something as simple as I was observing a client in Seminole County who came in and he was living in a storage unit, and all his goal was to get a bigger storage unit closer to a location. Is that rain or buckets? But we are going to help navigate. If it's transportation they need, we can help them, get them an Uber for transportation. I think we do that twice a week so they can get to the center and back. Like I said, sober living, if we can get them sober living, they may need a detox facility and residential treatment. And we're going to help them find that. But all of our services are free.
So are you already networking with some of the organizations that you can plug people into?
We are, simply for the fact that I being in the county for 25 years and working for the county for a short time, I was able to connect with a lot of partners in the community. And what I'm doing is bringing our CEO and our COO, which is George Margolis and Corey Fisher, with me and the program manager, and we have been setting community visits. So we've been going to Family Promise, 211. We have a meeting with Community of Hope. So I'm getting their name. They know who I am, and I'll be in the community. But when it comes to actually what we are and who we do, I wanted them, as we grow, to become aware of Brevard and the needs here in Brevard.
Certainly.
Definitely needs.
So, just a question for you. Let's say that someone comes in and is needing some help with housing. Are there finances there to help them with that, or are you just trying to find those organizations that can help them?
We currently have availability to pay, I believe it's 3 months of housing, which would be like for 3 months rent and a deposit.
Okay.
So we can help them with that and help them navigate or find where that would be and what that looks like. Again, and we have funds for immediate groceries, if that may be a need. We have funds for transportation, bus pass. We'll provide them a bus pass if that's, just not the Uber, but if they need constant transportation, they could get a bus pass. So we are helping in those modes, as well as finding what recovery looks like and getting them help, be it a job or helping them get training for a job. So we're kind of an all-encompassing, kind of welcoming, and we let them predict their path. We're going to help them, but it is their journey of recovery, and it does not look the same for everyone. It's different.
Certainly, I agree with that. We work with a lot in the recovery program that we have now. Mostly men. Our women's shelter is not really for.
We got another person, so just
okay.
Oh, okay.
No,
Go ahead. Give us your elevator pitch right now, so other organizations and people can help you.
Well, we're Recovery Connections. We're new to Brevard County, and we'll be at, I believe, 1632 West Hibiscus. Come see us. We will have a ribbon cutting with the City of Melbourne eventually. I don't know what that date is, but we are here to help people navigate their recovery journey.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you
very much. It was great to meet you.
Make sure you leave those flyers.
I will.
For us.
I brought them.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
and it was
Thank you very
good
much.
to meet
All righty. Bless you.
You're watching Conversations on a Bench, a 24 hours live stream raising awareness about homelessness. While sharing real conversations about homelessness, addiction, and mental health, we're also collecting tangible items to help those in need to support families at New Life Mission and residents at Cedar Rescue Mission. Visit our bench in downtown Melbourne anytime, from October 9th at 3 p.m. to Friday 10th at 3 p.m. across from 407 East New Haven Avenue.
Hey, we're gonna Amy Lyon here, New Life Mission.
Barry Walton here from Endless Media, and a big fan of New Life Mission.
You know what? Let me take your phone from
Yeah.
you. I'm just gonna take your phone.
Well,
I'm gonna
make
give it
sure
to someone
on that
else.
phone, thank you for taking it, but make sure, and for you guys out there watching this, make sure you push post, because that'll post to my Facebook and my friends can check out, and I told them where to donate as well, just to remind your followers where they should donate.
See, here's the thing. We may be in downtown Melbourne, but we are also throughout Brevard County and across the country.
You are.
We
It's big.
are.
It's
And
big.
you are too.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. Well, welcome. I'm glad to be part of this. Hello, country. Hello to a very important issue. Helping what these guys do is so awesome. I toured last week.
He toured New Life Village.
Yeah.
Tell us that. Let's get comfy. Let's
Yeah.
talk about your tour.
Okay. I toured last week. Do you want me to just go ad lib? Here we go. Just
Well,
take,
first,
take
you
it,
know
run
what,
with it.
Barry? Who are you?
I'm Barry Walton. I've been working in film and documentary films and television and commercials for about 25 years. Some of my highlights, I won an Emmy Award. I've worked for Nat Geo and Animal Planet. I've worked in pro sports. And so I have a few.
You're super cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm proud of them. I've had my moments. They come and they go in our industry. There's spikes and tops and bottoms, but you know, those experiences were fun and kind of helped shape me. But I think that this is far more important than you know, chasing around some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm
Well,
not saying that.
What do you think? So you took a tour of New Life
Yeah.
Village. What did you think? That is our location where all new families come into the program. We have moms and children living at that location. So you walked through, you saw our kids academy.
Yeah. So, well, I met with Stacy, one of your top shelf people at the mission, and she took me through. And look, I'll be honest with you. If you're out there and you haven't seen a tour, you need to go to the site first. You need to check out what these guys are doing, because for me it was transformational. And you know, the property is beautiful. The site it's so nice to be able to have a site like that where you're providing services for needy people who can't do it for themselves. But more importantly is what I'm literally so passionate about is your core mission, which is to make people independent.
Right.
Get them off of government as a source, as a way of relying, build the skills so that they can go out and survive on their home. And what I was also amazed by is your numbers are upwards of 90%. Am I right?
Absolutely.
So,
and that's a success rate. So people who complete our program do not return to homelessness.
Yeah.
So it's not a Band-Aid, right?
Yeah. And I can't say enough. Like, I think a big part of this is about raising funds and awareness. And if you're out there and you're an individual who can support this, and you believe that you want to see people independent off the government, not dependent on the government, you need to get off your seat, push the donate button, and get some money to this group, because I'll tell you, there's a lot of services out there. I genuinely believe what you guys are doing is unique and profound in the way and the way to do it. The way to do it. So that was that was, you know, visually what you guys, the grounds are beautiful. What you're doing for the people that you're helping is powerful, but most importantly is your principles are I think what are going to lead people to success long term. So that was my impression of kind of my experience. And I was like, as soon as I heard that,
Will we have his check ready for him as he exits the bench?
Yeah,
no, thank you so much for saying that. That means a lot. I think when people come to our village campus, it is transformational for them because, you know, you might imagine what it's like there, but there's opportunities not just to donate cash, but you can donate time, you can donate items, you know, praying for us and sharing what we're posting on social media. There's so many ways.
Yeah.
So what makes you passionate about homelessness? That transformation, that...
I think, you know, like I live over in Rockledge. So Rockledge, for those of you who are watching locally, you know, for those of you who don't, is about 45 minutes away. It's near Cocoa. And as I come off of the 520, which is a highway that exits from the 94, we're getting a little bit sloshed here with rain. But as I come off, for the longest time, me and my family, I would see a gentleman literally on the 520, you come off to go onto my street towards my subdivision. Literally, that was his home. Yeah. Like he was there all the time. He had his bed there. When the weather was bad, we would look over and see him on a rainy day, covered completely in a tarp. Mm. When the weather was good, he would just be out sitting. And so I look at that person and I go, that's not his best life. Yeah. That's not his dream for him. But what we forget is like circumstances in life, mental health issues, and, you know, challenges that all of us take for granted, like not having family, like not having someone to raise you, like being raised in a foster home and kind of getting left out, can lead you to places that you don't have control over. I think a lot of people assume that homeless people have control over their situation, right? Yep. And so for me, when I see a homeless person, I'm like, that's someone who, one, is not living their best life, and two, doesn't have control of the situation. Mm-hmm. He needs, you know, and we look at adults and we go, they don't need parenting anymore. It's inaccurate. And all of us at some level still want parenting in our lives. And I don't want to say that they need the parent like we think of, but they need pseudo parents. They need people that are going to give them skills, life skills. We take so many life skills for granted. They're going to need the life skills to hold down the job, to control their emotions on a bad day, to recognize the value of repetition over time, and that building little pieces over time can turn into, a successful life, and the mentality of like celebrating and having thanks and being grateful for those little things. So I could ramble on.
It's okay.
But
well, speaking about
yeah.
those life skills, we had a woman who came to our program with children, and we gave her. She didn't have any food. She didn't have anything when she came in. We gave her, stove, pots, pans. Said, here's some soup to make for dinner for your kids. And we came back a little while later, and she said, I don't know why it's not working. She had put the can just in the saucepan.
Yeah.
Because she didn't know to
She didn't
open
know.
it. And I know people are like, what? Are you kidding me? But if you were not raised in that environment, in fact, you maybe raised your siblings.
Yeah. Well, I mean, humans, humans are programmable. Like, and see, in this age that we live in, one argument that the scientists have right is we're very programmable, but that doesn't mean that we should just, be left to like figure out life on our own. It's important to give skills to people so that they can learn how to make a fulfilling life for themselves, right? And you look around and it really is, you look at society, and society genuinely breaks down into people that are victims who genuinely don't know how to get out of that mentality, and people who are victors, who have figured out the bridge across. And that's what I think I see your organization working to build. You're working to turn victims into victors. And that, again, just to remind people, if you're watching this, this is about, I hate to be just blatant, but this is about fundraising. And if you believe in those tenets of helping people go from being a victim to a victor, you have a responsibility, and it's the easiest responsibility because these people are actually working. They're out in the rain. She's going to spend the whole night here. And so you need to give, you need to contribute, you need to take time, because you're not leaving the comfort of your home.
All right.
One, two. One, two, testing.
One, two. Thank you, my brother. You want to come talk? All right. I'm just going to introduce you a little bit.
Yep. Let me get the light up.
Yeah, go ahead and just hold it up.
Yep.
You know how to use one.
Sure.
And I'm just going to let you share your story, man.
Sure.
Okay. Probably ask you some questions in between.
Sure.
You'll count us down. I'll do a little intro.
Is that right?
That's bright, man. That is bright.
Whenever you're ready. Action. Do like a welcome back or something like that.
Are you ready? Welcome back, everyone. We've had a little bit of technical difficulties in the past little while. We've lost some of our satellite there, and our download or our upload speed, whichever one it was, wasn't fast enough, kept kicking us off and everything. And the quality may not be as nice as it was a little while later because we had to drop that down to be able to get back on our live stream. But I hope you that are getting out of bed right now, we just had some of the folks who have been working since yesterday joined us again. And I'm Buddy Morrow with Cedar Rescue Mission, Christ is the Answer, and Amy's right over there, and the New Life Mission, and we've been collaborating together and sitting on this bench for 24 hours. And we're counting down. How many more hours do we have? About 9, something like that, 8 or 9 hours. 8 or 9 hours. Yeah, praise the Lord. But anyway, thank you for tuning in with us, and have a friend here. Curtis, I want you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story. Curtis was at the mission at one time, and then actually went through our work therapy program, and is back out on his own doing very well, and sort of, I think you just sort of picked up where you left off, didn't you? God's been very good to you.
I really did, buddy. Thank you for having me, and thank New Life Mission for partnering up with us on this. In 2023, I was facing some real challenges in my life. I had been let go at a position with the local company, the Highland Mint, a very good position that I had after 15 years. And I was working for a small business over in Melbourne Beach. But the long and short of it was I was still behaving hedonistically, and I was drinking every day, and I could not afford to. I couldn't afford my rent anymore. And one thing after another kept falling to the wayside. And after hopping around and exhausting my friends and family, I ended up on the streets. I ended up homeless, and I couldn't believe it. It was absolutely the most humbling experience I've ever had in my life, but it was one of the greatest. And people think I'm, crazy when I say the last couple of years have been some of the best in my life. They have, because I was given a chance to be reborn. So I'm on the street, and I'm not able to afford a hotel room anymore and everything else. And I researched online for men's shelters. I have lived in this area in Melbourne since 1999 and raised a family and everything else. But I drove by CEDA, 1,000 times and didn't even know what it was. And so as I went on the website and I investigated it, I started feeling a real pull. I was reconnecting with my faith and with God. I was praying for Him to give me a pathway and a direction to get my life back together. And as soon as I started researching CEDA, and really understanding what it was about, or thinking that I understood what it was about, that pull was so strong that even with some friends that were still offering me a room here and there, I said, no, I'm gonna sleep on the street until I get into CETA. I had gone over and done an interview process that they have you do. And they said, well, bunks come about, sometimes days, sometimes a week or so. And it ended up being 6.5 weeks. And but I look back at that and I tell people that it was God testing me to see if I was really serious about reconnecting with him and having a relationship and getting my life back together. And the reason I felt the pull for CETA was I felt that I was talking with God. Lord, if you show me the direction and show me what CETA is all about, Christ is the answer. I think once I get back on my feet, I wanted to go to work for you. I wanted to go to work for God and for Christ is the answer. And it was all knowing once I was in the program after that 6.5 weeks. And I still have a picture in my phone that I remind myself of where I was lying on the sidewalk over here across from the Melby, that anytime I get too full of myself, I can just look at that picture and go, that's me in control. I needed the Lord to be in control. And so CETA provided the shelter, the structure, the daily worship, and reconnecting with your faith and your relationship with the Lord. Counseling, I got great counseling from Jeff Petrie and Pastor Gary and Buddy, of course. And once I was getting myself acclimated into the program, I'd tell Buddy and I would tell Pastor Gary and everything else, man, it's a great feeling to be where you should be at a given time in your life. And that was exactly where I was supposed to be.
What do you think was the biggest part of the program that helped you the most?
There's no doubt in my mind, it's the reconnection with God. It's the worship. It's the daily worship. The study of this beautiful book here that I battled with my entire life. Because what began happening was all of a sudden, the verses in the books that I had read or tried to read and comprehend for so long, Buddy, all of a sudden they started making sense. And so it was the instruction I was getting from the CETA leadership and Pastor Gary that showed me I was on the right path. It was definitely the reconnection with God. And then, the structure that you have in place with, being able to work for the mission for the first few months, and then the capability of going off campus and getting a job and saving money while you're staying there, while you're getting counseling and daily worship. That's huge. That is such a huge hand up for somebody that is in need and on the streets.
What do you think if we could change something at the mission, what would be something you think that would be a change to help us better help the ones that we're helping over there? Would there be anything, a change that you could think of?
I don't really, nothing comes to mind. What, Buddy, the one thing I do think, and what I'm still trying to do on a volunteer basis, as you know, is to let the community know what CETA is. It blows my mind that I've been here, for 25, 26 years, and I didn't know until I needed you, until I needed the program. I didn't know anything about it. And so getting the community, shining a light on CETA, on New Life Mission is what is needed. Because once people's eyes are open, they know the help comes and the donations come and so forth. So, that's it. Just the community being aware of what the operation is, because I can tell you firsthand that it's a different perspective. There's one perspective from the outside in, looking into CEDA. Once you're in and looking out, it is a beam of life for this community. And that's what people need to know.
Well, another question for you. I know that you sort of was able to go right back into almost where you were at or where you were at and everything. And just the Lord's really blessed you since you left there.
Unbelievably. And so...
Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about your position.
So once I graduated from the program after 15 months and decided to get my own place and move out, I ended up in Lake Washington in a nice house and neighborhood. And I turned 62 and I began receiving some of my benefits, but I needed to also supplement my income. So what I did was I had applied to a couple local businesses, and one of them was CVS, and I was going in for training as an assistant manager for my local one up there. But out of the blue, with no effort on my part, my ex-employer, the owners of the Highland Mint, reached out to me and asked what I was up to and would I be interested in speaking with them about coming back to work. And yeah, so the last couple months have been unbelievable, very surreal. And I'm right back doing what I was doing for 15 years. Thank you, Lord. And really appreciating it more than ever, and knowing that my purpose is now to give back, and that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm going to continue to do. But it's been an unbelievable blessing, and I wouldn't have never been able to do that without CEDA.
One of the things, with the mentors that we have come in, I know that you were involved with some of those, and we're going to let this truck pass by. They're cleaning our street, believe it or not. But anyway,
Amen.
Just because we're here today, they're cleaning our street. But I know that with the mentors that come in, like Trey and his group that come in and working with those guys, did that help you? Was that a program that really helped you?
Absolutely. That is another facet of the mission, is the outside community, the outside church leaders like Trey and the Church of Vieira up there. Those individuals have a huge impact on the men and then the women and children over at Helen's House. Incredible. Those partnerships are very much needed, very much appreciated, and they do a great job.
And that's why we're encouraging people, to volunteer. I think the last few people I've talked with, we really talk strong about there's needs for volunteers. New Life Mission would love to have more volunteers. CEDA would love to have volunteers. And, there's a lot of nonprofits in our area that are helping the homeless. And so there's always a place where you can find to volunteer. And I know you volunteer your time with us. You've done pop-ups for us and things like that. And I just tell people to find that niche, something you like to do, and go do it.
Yeah, absolutely. As you and I have discussed, we all are given gifts by our Heavenly Father. And it is up to us, through our relationship and communicating with Him daily, to figure out what those gifts are and where to apply them. We all have something to offer, so talk to God and He'll help you figure out where to apply those gifts He's given you.
So, Kurt, what's your plans? Are you planning to stay with the Mint for a while and continue to grow there? Or I know you thought about ministry a lot, getting back in ministry. So
Yeah.
What's your plans?
Well, actually, my plan is to stay this course. I plan on being with the Mint as long as they will have me. I enjoy my job very much and capable of doing it for many, many more years. But not ministry, mentoring the men and and community relations again, it is where my gifts apply. I am not a good pulpit person, but the thing that I've learned is nothing stronger than your own testimony and your own story. And so that's what God has instructed me to share.
So one thing that I found out over the years is that, addiction, homelessness, it doesn't pass any generation. It doesn't pass any culture.
Correct.
It can happen to anyone at almost any time, just something little coming up sometimes, a health issue or maybe a loss of housing, a loss of a job.
Yeah.
And so if you were able to speak to people out there, what would you tell them, those that are right at that, having to be on the streets, or on the streets right now, what would you say to them that would encourage them to get help? Might not be CETA, but what could you say to them that may encourage them to get help?
I would say that we need to get ourselves out of the way, get your ego and pride out of the way, let God take control, and realize that when someone says they're homeless, it took me 2 weeks being on the streets before I could actually look in the mirror and say, Kurt, you're homeless. I had to verbalize it. God told me, you need to verbalize it. You're homeless. Being homeless can happen to anybody. And you just need to get your pride out of the way. You need to humble yourself. It's humility, obedience, and faith. And don't be afraid to take that step. There's a lot of resources here in the community. There's a lot more people behind the scenes doing good than any of the stuff you may hear on the news, the bad stuff and all that. There's a ton more people doing really good stuff. And just lose your pride and your ego and reach out for some help.
Do you think that it was your pride that kept you from getting in a shelter or somewhere, getting help? Was it your pride that kept you from doing that and taking you so long to make that step?
Absolutely. I dragged my pride and ego around for at least a year and a half, thinking I could figure it out. Yeah. I could handle this. And once, I tell people, it was almost like God tapped me on the shoulder and said, have you had enough? And I looked up and I said, yeah, I need to get out of the way. You're in control.
Amen. Amen. Well, it blesses my heart to see men like you that come in, stay plugged in. I know you're in a great community over there, at the church. And I think that's what it takes for people that come in, go into recovery, is to stay plugged in with that church community. Yep. And stay really alive in it. Stay in the Word. You got to stay in the Word every day. And I've seen you do that, and we're proud of you, man. We really are. We're proud of you.
Well, I'm proud of CETA, and Buddy, you and the leadership group do a great job. And New Life Mission, fantastic. Thank you so much. Great job. It's just I'm probably at the happiest point of my life.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
Thank you.
One of the things I remember, Kurt, when you walked on the property, I looked at the way you were dressed. You were clean. You were neat. I thought you were someone visiting. I really did.
Yeah.
And then they said to me that they'd just taken you in.
Yeah. Well, I would
and
tell
I said,
people
that dude's homeless.
Yes. I would tell people, Buddy, when I would be over at the public library and talking to my friends and family on the phone or whatever else, I said, well, I'm the best dressed homeless person you ever saw, because no matter what, you want to take some, you got to have some self-esteem in whatever position you're in life. But it happens to anybody. And that's what people need to realize is everybody's got challenges, issues. Everybody's gone through some kind of trauma. And don't be so full of yourself not to reach out for help. There's a lot of great nonprofit organizations out there to help.
Had some great time with your kids.
Oh my goodness, yes.
All that relationship and everything. And
reconnected with everybody, and got to when I left, as you know, I got to see our youngest daughter, Karina, graduate from the University of Florida, and I'm sitting there in Gainesville at the ceremony going, wow, I didn't think 2 years ago that this was going to be able to happen.
Yeah. Well, what I'd say to folks out there, you may be in a situation right now to where you are having to live on the streets. We had a couple of our ladies from Helen's House that were over here with us a few hours ago, about 2 o'clock this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And we listened as Beth talked about how scared it was living on the streets and some of the things that she went through and all. And I would just encourage you, it doesn't matter whether it's New Life Mission, doesn't matter whether it's Cedar Rescue Mission. There's plenty of organizations that you can go to that will love you, that will help take care of you, that will help meet your needs. But you got to want it. And when you want it, don't let that pride eat you up. Go and get yourself checked in somewhere, and you can end up like this guy right here.
Yeah.
And I just praise the Lord for your spirit. Thank you for, you still help us. You're still a great ambassador for us. And
Yeah, absolutely. And something that we haven't spoke about, buddy, is the thrift stores. And I was fortunate to work at the main campus thrift store for a year or a year and a half. And those thrift stores are so important to the mission. I tell people all the time now that you see somebody on the street, somebody begging for money, and obviously in a very difficult situation in their life, how can I help? You can help just by shopping at Cedar thrift stores. That's helping, people in need. You can donate clothes, furniture. We have our own trucks, and we can come pick up donations. So we have the one store next to the near the women's facility over on Aurora, and then the other one here for 56 years just southeast of downtown.
I don't think people realize, and you worked in the thrift store for a while.
Yeah.
Of how much stuff we donate to the needy each and every day around there.
Incredible.
And it's our community that gives to us to where we can provide people that need clothing, need furniture, things like that. We do that each and every day around the mission. And then I don't think people realize the amount of food we give away. That
right.
We're unable to give it out to single people and everything, but we supply several food pantries around here that we started when COVID started, and we're still giving out about 3,000 pounds of food a week around there. And so here you are, living around here all the time, didn't even know CETA existed.
Yeah.
And you ended up there, but God used it, and you're back, man, doing great. Man, I appreciate you showing up, getting up early.
Anytime.
And coming out and visiting with us and sharing what the Lord's doing in your life, and just continue to let him work in your life, man.
Amen.
Just stay plugged into him, man.
It's the least I can do.
Yes, sir. But thank you so much. Lord bless you, man.
Thank you.
Let's see what's on live feed right now from one of our other places.
I couldn't really think about the future at all, like further than what we're going to eat for dinner.
I didn't really see a future before I got here.
Join us on October 23rd at the American Muscle Car Museum for Opening Doors for Women, a red carpet fundraiser dedicated to helping homeless women with children find stability and hope. Hosted by New Life Mission, this event raises critical funds to help families move from dependency to self-sufficiency, all in a Christ-centered environment. It's a night of inspiring stories and meaningful connections. As an attendee, you'll be part of a caring community committed to making a difference. Together, we can open the doors that transform homeless families for generations.
If I tell you the many doors that it has opened, we'll be here all day. It's the village that we need. If you're facing homelessness, if you're facing abusiveness, whatever you're facing, it's hope. And you're going to find it here at New Life Mission.
At Retreat Restrooms, we believe everyone deserves a clean and healthy environment, no matter where they are. As a Marine veteran, I built this company on the values of excellence, reliability, and care, bringing high standards and comfortable restrooms to every mission, event, and emergency.
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful girl who lived in a castle.
I was a heroin addict and was living on the couches of people that I would do drugs with.
The little girl lived with her mom and dad, who loved her very much.
So I was 7 when my parents had divorced. The cops came and arrested my dad, and my mom went to a women's shelter, and she sent me to live with my grandfather, who wasn't physically able to care for me. So I pretty much raised myself.
The little girl loved to spend time with her family and friends. She also likes coloring and chasing butterflies.
When I was 11, my uncle molested my best friend, and then he tried to come for me. I basically fought for my life.
One day, the little girl packed a picnic lunch for 2 and went on her way to grandmother's house.
As a young girl, I battled eating disorders, and I was very unhealthy. I just didn't know how to make good choices for myself.
As the little girl made her way to grandmother's house, she came across a lonely giant. He looked sad, so she stopped to see if he needed help.
So I met my husband when I was 19 at a party. He sold drugs as a side job, and that's how my addiction started. By the age of, I'd say about 23, I was pregnant with my daughter. I stayed clean during that time, started to live a normal life. The first time I used with my father, I was 22.
The little girl noticed that the giant was injured and hungry, so she shared her lunch with him and helped him find his way home.
My husband basically was ready to get sober, and I was not. So he left me at that time, and I was left homeless. I was in and out of jail.
After the little girl said goodbye to the giant, she continued to grandmother's house, but soon realized she'd strayed off the path along the way.
Eventually, I met someone that was a nurse, and he wanted to take care of me and help me with my daughter, and we got married shortly after. He never wanted me to work or leave the house. I noticed as time went on. He seemed very helpful, but I was pretty confused. I knew he loved me, but I knew something wasn't right about it. He sabotaged friendships, and he tried to get in the way of some of my family relationships.
Looking around the woods, she tried to find something that looked familiar to help her remember her way back. Every which way she turned, she felt more lost than before.
I was pregnant with my son and gave birth. At that time, my daughter was still living with her dad, part-time, and my ex-husband relapsed. So this was a turning point for me. I saw myself in my daughter, and I remembered my childhood when I was her age. That's when I knew something had to change, and I needed to get her out of that situation.
When the little girl realized she was lost, she felt scared and alone.
So I was able to get full custody of my daughter, but things got worse from there. He was mentally abusive to my daughter. I think he was jealous of my children spending time with me and wanted me all to himself. So after being married for him for 10 plus years, I finally decided to leave. He died suddenly of a heart attack. So, even though our life together was very unhealthy, I was somewhat stable and clean with him. I was clean and stable. And so he helped me do all that. And then he was gone.
The lost girl heard her grandmother's voice in her head, saying, "Courage isn't the absence of fear, but the action you take despite feeling afraid." So the little girl chose courage.
After my husband passed, we had nowhere to go. It was a very scary time for me, and I was a widow, and I was basically going into homelessness, and that's when I called New Life Mission.
The little girl picked up a long, sturdy stick she found on the ground and suddenly remembered a friend of her grandmother's who lived nearby. He was a carpenter, and she knew he would be able to show her the way home.
For the first time in that time frame, I just knew I wasn't alone. I had someone to walk with me and help me figure this out.
The little girl was able to find the carpenter, and he was able to put her back on the right path.
I knew that I couldn't fix me. I knew that people couldn't fix me. I had to give it all to God and let Him fix this situation and walk with me through this journey. He is the only one that could have walked beside me. In some turmoil, we had just lost my husband, and my kids weren't doing well when I had first come to New Life. They were broken. We were all broken. And God just walked alongside me and healed me through that journey. My daughter was, going through some mental health crisis of her own at that time, and I was given advice and resources in the community that helped me so much, and I just had support. I really just needed someone to walk with me alongside. God, they helped me so much, so much. And she lived
happily ever after.
Unfortunately, due to some financial challenges, we're going to have to lay you off.
Your application's been rejected. You're going to have to raise your rent.
We're going to have to evict you.
I want you out of here in 10 days.
You can't bring your son here tomorrow unless your card has been declined. I'm so sorry.
I want you out of here. You can't park here in 10 days.
Hey, this is New Life Mission. I have good news. I'm calling to let you know we have a place for you.
For 15 years, New Life Mission has been opening its doors to homeless single mothers and their children. We equip homeless mothers to transform their families for generations. Through education, accountability, and goal advancement, Our program equips and empowers them to self-sufficiency. We believe accountability is the key to achieving long-term success. We walk alongside our families and are committed to compassionately providing educational opportunities, job training, and life skills necessary for success. Above all, we believe in the transformative power of a relationship with Jesus Christ and are committed to sharing this message of hope to all of the people we serve. We know the program works, but we need your help. We're asking our community to help us open doors for more families. You're invited to join us for a fundraiser hosted by the American Muscle Car Museum. Learn more about New Life Mission and how you can help us open doors for homeless mothers and their children. You'll also get to view the private collection of over 400 muscle cars, enjoy heavy hors d'oeuvres and drinks, and participate in a live and silent auction.
He's about wore out.
Scene 129, take one, action.
We're getting closer. 24 hours on a bench. I'm Buddy Morrow with CITA Rescue Mission. Christ is the answer. Got Amy back there having a fresh cup of coffee. I'm waiting for mine to cool down. Thank you all for bringing the coffee. We really needed it. I think we only have about another 8.5 hours to go. But I have the opportunity, when we were only down 2 hours, man, I thought we'd been here 6 or 7, 8 hours already. So I'm loving it. It's just 8 or 9 hours now. Yeah. But I have Tracy here with Church of Viera. I always use the word CAV, and that's what they call them and all. And they are a great support to many ministries. They support both New Life Mission, Cedar Rescue Mission, and many others. And so, Tracy, we just want you to start off and tell us what's going on at your church. Tell us a little bit about your church, and y'all do so much for the community. I know we could talk for a long time.
We absolutely could. Hey, thank you for having me. So my name is Tracy Buck, and I have the pleasure of being on staff at Church at Viera. I've been there for about 6 years. You know, and the funny thing is, I was a dental hygienist for 30 years, and people don't know that. But God had a different plan for me. I didn't know, but He revealed Himself in a sweet, sweet way that I get to work in the impact department, which is basically missions at Church at Viera. And so we work with local organizations and global organizations. And it's just been a pleasure to get to know all the people in the community, especially with organizations like CETA. But we also partner with New Life Mission, Agape, and I think about other ones that serve the homeless population. Matthew's Hope, they're in Cocoa, Agape Ministries. Yes. So those are some of our partnerships, and it's just incredible the work they do. We have seen, so much homelessness, and even more so, of course, since 2020.
Oh, certainly.
And so we just come beside individuals, even in Viera, as they walk through our doors and are looking for help and shelter. And so it's really a privilege to be able to partner with organizations like yours to find a home for them. But there are gaps.
Yeah.
And it's tough. I would say about a month ago, we had a woman come through our doors, suitcases in hand, probably 65 years old. No place to go, could barely walk. And that's the gap that we struggle with, because even as we looked within all of our partners, a place for her to be, there's no place for her.
Gosh.
I mean, it's sad.
Breaks my heart.
It is, yeah.
Makes me want to change what we've changed so much at Helen's house.
Oh, yeah.
We said we weren't going to have babies.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then, here we are, we're open 2 months, and we have my wife and one of our board members walking in with a mother with a brand new baby.
Yeah.
And so, we changed in, and I don't know whether you know it or not, you may not realize it, but we just had one of our ladies have a baby just last week.
Wow.
And then we have one that came in on Saturday, and she has a little 6-year-old child, but we found out today that she is 3 months pregnant.
Wow.
And so, we're changing, we're evolving with the needs
for sure.
there.
Right,
and,
exactly.
And matter of fact, we had one of our ladies that's just fixing to graduate our program over there that she came in, she was in her 60s and found herself homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And to listen to her talk about being scared and having to carry everything with her that she owned and all, it really opens your eyes. And CAV's been a part of many of the organizations around here to helping the homeless. And y'all do a great job of that. Not only do y'all give financially, but I mean, y'all get involved with your work groups.
We do,
You
yeah.
know, the 321, I believe it is.
Yes, yeah,
And,
we do.
Yeah,
Yep.
we've got y'all coming for a project here pretty soon, and
We are.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
We have quarterly serve days that we just try to get the community, our church community, to go out into the community. We hope to give them just a little bit of a taste of what it's like to serve outside of the four walls of the church. And we feel like it's what God's called us to do, to give back to the community, to step out of our comfort zone. And so we challenge people, and we try to present through the help of all of our partners, what type of projects do we have? What are your needs, and how can we come beside you? And so we're getting ready to launch our next one in the middle of November with different projects.
at Helen's house, we work with a lot of volunteers. We would be unable to do what we do over there without the volunteers. And we have, some of the CAV ladies that are out there all the time. You were talking about Suzanne.
Yes.
She's there doing it. I thought she was a full-time employee, but anyway, she's there working. She works as hard as anyone, and we see that from all the people that come out though. And y'all are such a great blessing to us. We've been asking for some strong conversation. We've been looking for ways that we can work with the crisis that we have, not only in the downtown, but it's across our county.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you were talking about this. And are there any of those other little places to where we have holes that where some of our partners? We've had a lot of our partners talk with us, and people that are doing what we're doing, maybe different facet and whatnot. You just talked about the dear lady that's 60 years old,
Oh, yeah.
can hardly walk, and has fallen through the cracks.
Yes.
Are there any other areas that you're seeing where people are falling through the cracks that we can let our partners know and maybe change that? I'm going to
Yeah.
go back and change Helen's house tomorrow.
Well, I guess the other piece of it is it's the mental health.
Yeah.
Like we know, and that was part of what was going on with her as well.
Yeah.
Is so there's a mental health issue. She's had been so lost and turned away so many places. And so even as we tried to connect her with an organization in Orlando who could take her immediately, she was resistant to go.
Yeah.
She's scared, and I think I would be terrified too. And, to just get displaced again, or to have to be, she said, with somebody else in another room. I mean, I think that they've been alone, and that's how they function best, is alone, where
Mhm.
we know we need community.
Certainly.
I mean, God has called us to that. We aren't meant to do life alone, but people that have been on the streets, they've been doing life alone for so long, they don't know what it's like to be together in community. And I know that New Life Mission's done it well. You guys do it well. Having, people that come into your mission where they live together. They
Mhm.
learn what it's like to be in community, and that's so important. And another organization I forgot to mention, because we have so many that work with
know, I couldn't
this
remember 'em
population,
all.
is Family Promise.
Family Promise,
they're
yeah.
doing an amazing
Yeah.
amazing job too, and they're right in Cocoa where
Tara was with me. She actually came in at 4:30 in the morning to
she
sit down
did.
on the
She's
bench. Yeah, she was here not long
Good.
ago.
Yes.
And I saw her walking up, and I said, "Oh, I forgot you were coming."
You were
So
like,
I can't
"Thank
believe you got
goodness
up
you
at 4:30 in the morning to be here,
I
or
know.
4:00 in the morning, whatever time she got up. But I don't even know whether we could remember all the organizations that y'all partner with and everything. Y'all partner
Well,
with so many people.
Yes, but it is a partnership,
It is. And it takes that. Some of the people I've talked to today, or should I say yesterday, and throughout the night today, we've talked about community. And if the community's not involved, we need the businesses involved.
Yes.
Workforce is something. We need the churches involved.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing what Family Promise does within the churches, that are reaching out and helping families and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
She's really a go-getter and doing a great job there. She really is.
Yeah.
So you're not really seeing any more gaps except for the mental health, and that's something we're all trying to deal with right now. Back in the early 80s, the
Yeah.
government stopped funding mental health hospitals and things like that. There's not enough beds. I was talking with Circles of Care just a few months ago, and they began to send out the case managers, the counselors, I think they call it their emergency team with the police now. So they're seeing a lot less Baker Acts and a lot of people. Their emergency system over there is not staying full like it used to.
Right.
But when I was talking to him, he said, I'm going to have one bed open up tomorrow, and I got about 150 people that need a bed right now. And so that's something that I believe we really need to start sort of hounding our legislators about, state level and federal level.
Right.
Let's get back and let's get some of these monies there for the mental health, because we work hand in hand with Circles of Care, and
Yeah.
we're having severe problems with it, and some of those we're unable to help.
Right, exactly.
One of the things New Life has done, New Life is they have their own in-house, mental health people now.
Yes.
We're going outside to do that, but
Right.
that's something they've started, and it's working very well for them. And
Yep.
I don't want to take away from what Amy would say, but I know that they're sort of leading the pack and doing that kind of stuff, and with the women and,
No.
and women and children.
Mhm, yep.
So, any other things that you
I
see
see
maybe
that.
we're missing?
Well, I mean, I think it's just the vast number of homeless out there. I mean, we can't possibly serve them all because of all the people that somebody comes up to me and says, hey, I have a friend who knows XYZ. And there's not enough places to put them. And we also have found that when they come in and they talk to us and they have a need, we try to direct them to the system, if you will, right? And to make those phone calls they find it difficult to get in the system, to get on the list, to get connected, directly with an organization. And for them, it's an immediate need. We know the wheels turn slowly, and so
Yes.
I think that's
Yeah.
that gap. Also, is just it just takes a while for people, because in the meantime, I'm still on the street. I have no place to go. I have all my stuff. It's raining outside. What do I do? Where do I go? I'm hungry. This particular woman I mentioned, we ended up, and it just broke our hearts, but getting her a campsite at Wickham Park
Yeah.
and getting her a tent. And then she called, she needed a bigger tent. And so we tried to serve her in that way. We didn't have a place to put her in our church.
Certainly.
I mean, and so it's just,
It's heartbreaking.
it is
isn't
heartbreaking. It just hurts. Yeah, it really, really hurts. And I know that we have compassion for them. Jesus had compassion for them. I mean, and I think that the thing that strikes me the most when I think about the Bible, and one of the Bible verses I love, is in Matthew 9. And Jesus looked out at the crowds. He saw the crowds with compassion. But I think the key word there is he saw. I mean, I think he sees people. And I often have to tell myself, I need to look through those lenses to
There
really
you
see
go.
people, because we see people, but do we really see them? And I think there are a lot of people out there we're overlooking that maybe we could connect them to these great organizations of the community, but we're not really seeing them.
Well, one of the things that they've done it, in the Cocoa area in Titusville, and we're starting here. Matter of fact, I think it's next week or the week after. It's called mapping, and mapping all the people together. And we have a meeting over at Helen's house.
Yeah.
Christy Stewart with Love Inc. and
Yeah, yeah.
I'll help Love Inc. too. She's sort of heading this up over here, and I think it'll be a great resource for people like y'all, for all of us that are helping the homeless. We were talking about having a place for them to go. Kurt, who ended up coming in, he was with us for 15 months, and a very professional guy. Matter of fact, when he showed up, and I was telling him, I said he was so neat and clean and all, I didn't believe he was homeless. I thought he was visiting someone there, but that's what alcohol and drugs will do to you. But he waited 6.5 weeks for an opening
For an
at
opening.
CETA, living on the
Yeah.
streets for 6.5 weeks. And so we don't need to duplicate what's being done.
Right.
We started Helen's House because some of the women and children were falling through the cracks. At, some of the
Yeah.
other, they didn't meet the criteria for others, and so we saw that great need. But after we got open, what we found out, there were a lot of single women that needed help. And so we have a few beds that are empty over there because we're taking single women. You can't put the 4 women into a bedroom that was made for a family and stuff like that and
Right.
everything. So it's changed our ideas of what we're doing. The next building we'll build over there will probably be smaller rooms, where it'll be just 2 women to a room or something like that. But, you're talking about the fear a few minutes ago, and Beth
Yeah.
that was talking with us, that was on the streets, the fear. And as a man, we don't look at it the way the woman looks at it. And she was just scared to death. And she
Yeah.
wanted to be alone. She said, you go to the camp, and she said, believe it or not, she said, everybody thinks everybody's together in there, but everybody's out for themselves.
They're out for themselves.
And just some of the experience she heard, I'm sitting here, I had tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah.
And so we know there's people that need help out there. We're still not able to meet that need. And so we just have to keep plugging along. And
Yes.
I've heard a lot. I've said, hey, where does the government? Amy and I both talking with our council members that showed up. You know, where are y'all helping? What can y'all do?
Right.
And it always goes back to the nonprofits
The
to take care of them.
nonprofits. Mhm.
And then I say, y'all don't want it in anybody's backyard.
Right.
You know, so that's one of our problems.
This is true. Nobody wants it in their backyard.
Yeah.
I think Matthew's Hope has struggled with that and with the community in Cocoa. They've told us, actually, I have a family member who lives in that area and he didn't know our connection with Matthew's Hope and he's been frustrated
Ooh, yeah.
because of the homeless people. And I'm just like, okay, we need to have a conversation. Let's talk about this. You know, because they're people too.
Yeah.
You know,
There are
and-
homeless neighbors.
Yes, they are. And
they are.
so Matthew's Hope, yeah, they're right there in Cocoa, and they're really I mean, it's a very, I think it's a nice area. It's a nice area right where they are, but they are drawing people in, you know, and people in the community that live right there, they don't know what to do with that, and I think that they're just strong arming them, and instead of thinking, you know, well, what could I do? Because I think we all can do something.
We all can. I've heard
there's
that. I've
something
heard
we can
that.
do.
Yeah.
Something. I mean, there's something I could do at Matthew's Hope, even though I work all week long. There's something I could do, you know, even on a Friday after work. There's something you could do to get involved somewhere.
And all the nonprofits are looking for volunteers.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
we are, New Life is,
Mhm.
everyone you talk to. And so,
Yes.
you know, just find out where your niche is, what you like to do. When someone comes to Seed and says, hey, I want to volunteer, I say, well, what do you like to do?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'll ride a tractor all day long and work in the fields and that kind of stuff. But you put me on pushing a lawnmower or riding one of those little bitty riding lawnmowers, I don't like it too much. So if you
Right.
put me cutting grass like that,
Oh, yeah.
I hope that I would give you all my all and stay with you for a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that I would. So I try to find out what people are wanting to do.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
You know, plug them in. And, you know, we, like I said, Helen's House wouldn't operate today if it wasn't for volunteers.
Yeah.
And so there's places to go. And like you said, you know, everybody has an opportunity to give back. They
Yes,
really do.
and we all have talents to do, whether
Yeah.
it's for me. I mean, I love to organize things, and I know my talents can be used anywhere, you know, at any mission, any ministry.
Yes.
Hey, come and organize my closet, organize this pantry, right? You'd be like, yes, come on, bring it on. But even just leading Bible studies, or just facilitating Bible study, or sitting and just talking to someone.
That's a big
Right?
thing right there.
I mean, you don't have to have, you know, all these talents and knowledge to be able to just love on people.
And that's one of the things I've listened to is some of the young ladies from New Life have you know talked and shared their stories and had the ladies here and just feeling loved, feeling loved. And some of these folks have never really known what love is.
Yeah.
And you know, if Jesus can love me, he can love any. I mean, you know, he can love anybody.
Oh yeah.
And I was so unlovable, but he tells us that we're to love others, just like he loved.
Yeah.
And so that's a good point. And you know, I keep hearing a lot as we've talked to some of the government officials, you know, patience. You know, well, let's keep on moving, and patience. But we have a growing number. And we're not going to move them from one camp to the other camp, and it's not going to go away.
No.
And so we do need some other facilities stepping up. You know, housing around here is just terrible.
Right.
And but it's like that across our state and in most places in our country.
Right.
So that's one of the areas we're working on. And you know, if y'all would pray with us, we'd like to have some transitional housing. Or, you know, as I was talking with Tara a little while ago, Tara, I said, you know, man, if the Lord would just dump a old apartment building or old motel or something like that in our lap, we'd be glad to take it and make it available for families, because we're seeing more families.
Yep.
And they're not necessarily having a drug problem or alcohol problem. They just hit some hard times somewhere.
Yes.
And, you know, some people, all it does is take being out of work for a couple of 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're on the streets.
Right.
And we see that. So that's one of the great needs here, too.
Yes,
really
it is. I think that, you know, and one of the things I learned a couple years ago, and I grew up in this area. I grew up on Merritt Island.
Really?
I've been here since I was in 2nd grade. I'm now 60 years old, so I've been here a long time. I think I know my area, but I don't know. I had preconceived notions even about Central Brevard Sharing Center over in Cocoa, and I know they have a Melbourne office as well. I thought they fed the homeless. I thought they cared for the homeless. And what I found out is that actually the percentage of people that they care for that are homeless is actually lower than the people that just have some insecurities. And I was shocked. I was like, wow, I did not know that. And I don't think people realize that what's happening is they are young families, they're single moms, single dads, just people that are single who just can't pay rent. They don't have the money for food. They can't pay their electric bill. They just can't get groceries. They don't have a place to take a shower. They are moving from one location to another, and now they need furniture. I mean, so that's the population they're serving. And that is amazing to me. And so you don't know what you don't know, and that's being maybe a little ignorant. But I didn't know it, and I'm just going to be honest.
I don't know whether I'd call it ignorant or not. You've got your hands full. You do so much around the church. You're not going to know everything. But I think this mapping situation assessment, I think that's going to help us all out in being a little bit more aware of, what's available, what people are doing actually. And I think maybe someone from CAV should be involved in this. I'm going to go to that first meeting and see. But I think someone with an outreach like you guys have. And I'm not saying that because y'all support us something. Y'all have a tremendous outreach. Y'all are doing the Lord's work. You really are. Y'all aren't sitting inside the four walls.
No, we're trying to push out. That's for sure.
You
Yeah,
really
we are.
are.
We're
You
trying
really
to push
are.
out.
And,
Well, no, I will definitely be looking to see, what we're
I'll
hearing
get with you on
about
that.
the mapping. And if,
I'll get with you on
is
that.
that Christy that's heading that up? Is that what
Christy's
you're
heading that up.
Okay.
I know they're meeting over at Helen's house, and I believe it's next week. Don't
Okay.
hold me to that. It's either next week or the week after.
Okay, yeah.
And I wasn't planning on going. I knew we were having it,
Right.
but I was told, hey, you need to be there.
Okay.
I didn't really know what it. I mean, I knew what they were doing, but
Right.
I didn't know what the outcome, the real big outcome, was looking at it.
Right.
And talking with Tara, they have started, and they have about 20 or 25 that meet once a month. They're the nonprofits, and they may not be a nonprofit, but they're the ones facilitating and helping the homeless.
Right.
And they're meeting and not coming in and having a speaker come in and all that, but they sit down and they sort of just talk with each other.
Right.
And they're finding ways to solve this problem and knowing who's doing what where and all that kind of stuff and everything. So
I think that's exactly it, is knowing who's doing what, because maybe too many of us are doing the same thing.
there you go.
Right.
There
And
you
so,
go.
like you said, we need to find where are the gaps. Do differently, and where can we send people, because we may not realize that there's a greater need for us to send people here versus there. Maybe we're sending too many in one place, and we don't know, because
No, you don't.
we don't
But
we
I
don't
think
know.
this will help us,
Yeah, that's good.
get a solution to that.
Yeah,
If you
that's
had
good.
any thoughts whatsoever in closing out here, and I do appreciate you coming out so early in the
Yes.
morning.
Oh, no.
Is there anything that you may think that would be a way that we could solve some of the situations we're having with homeless? I know I sort of already asked you that question, or you got something you'd like to leave us with? Maybe something that's going on in your church that we need to be aware of, or something like that. Prayer.
Well, I
know
mean,
we-
that's
I know we
actually
pray
what
for
was
y'all
getting
every
ready
day.
to.
Yeah, we pray for y'all every day around the mission. We
You
really
read
do.
my mind, because
And,
I think that is, and I don't want to say just pray, but we need to pray. We
do
need to
need to
pray
pray.
more. We need to stop and pray for these people. We need to pray with these people that we see, because I'll tell you, I had the privilege of going just recently to Romania
Oh,
to
really?
serve with another organization, and the people we were serving were the lost and the helpless and the homeless. And I would say we went into their homes, and I use that term loosely because it was a shelter. It is not a dignified place for anyone to live. But what the Lord taught me is I don't always have to have something to give them. I often think I don't approach someone that's homeless because I think I need to have something for them. But what I can give them, I can hold their hand.
There you go.
And I can pray with them and ask them, can I pray with you? And just listen to them, make them feel seen. But maybe I will learn something from them. Maybe I have the knowledge to connect them to something.
Wow.
I mean, and that was heavy on my heart. And I thought the Lord took me all the way to Romania to learn that all I have to do when I see that person that is in Vieira, I mean, there is a common place in Vieira where I see people, where I shop. And I often, I see them, but I don't stop. And now I know.
Yeah.
The Lord's calling me to do more. And he's asking me to just get down with them. I could do it in Romania, and I know I can do it right here.
Okay. They're telling us it's time to go to
Okay.
the other live feed.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, Tracy, for being here.
Thank you.
Getting up early in the morning, and thank you for
Yes.
Cav and the great church, what y'all do for all the organizations here in our area.
Thank you.
Lord bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy. All right, guys. Thanks.